Knoxville on a Saturday afternoon in September, where the streets are named for great Tennessee football players and coaches. The Vol Walk is a celebration of Southern culture and a football program that has succeeded for generations. Orange is the color of choice along the hills of Tennessee. Neyland Stadium, built in the 1920s, has morphed into one of the biggest places in America. It's Tennessee versus Marshall. Hello, everyone. I'm Jeff Hollinger, along with former Heisman Trophy winner Andre Ware. Cedric Houston is the running back to watch. So he goes today. So goes Tennessee against Marshall.
This is a big physical runner who can just flat wear a defense down. And he did just that last week against Fresno State, rushing for 95 yards in the first quarter alone. That average 305 pounds across the board. So if you're Marshall and you want to slow Tennessee down early, you start with the offensive line and Cedric Houston.
Now we get ready for Tennessee to come out onto the field. One of the great traditions, splitting the tee. More than 100,000 ready for Tennessee and Marshall. Kickoff is straight ahead. Coming up next. It is a sea of orange here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Nothing quite like volunteer football in September. Well, Marshall knows about winning, too. They are the MAC defending champions. In fact, since joining the conference in '97, they've appeared in 6 MAC title games. Bob Pruitt, part of the reason why. The coaches today are 2 of the winningest in the NCAA. He was with Steve Spurrier at Florida, replaced Jim Donnan, led Marshall to great success. And Phil Fulmer, a national title with T. Martin and friends, a lifelong Tennessean. He is the state's most well-known figure behind George Jones.
Yeah, they've had great success, both coaches, over 80% in terms of winning percentage between the 2 of them. I asked Bob Pruitt at Marshall, what is your secret when you lose so many coordinators throughout the years? And he says he just promotes from within. It's easier to teach one guy than 100 kids.
Yeah, and you know, both of these guys are alums of their schools, yes. So they have a great emotional attachment to Marshall and to Tennessee.
They really do. They actually have a lot at stake and want to see their alma mater succeed. They pour their hearts into the program, and a lot of success on both sides of the field for both programs.
Boy, when you talk about offensive power today, talk about Darius Watts, who is a man who will keep them very busy in the secondary of Tennessee today.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The #1 returning receiver in the nation, along with Josh Reed, who's the #8 returning receiver this season. So those 2 can really stretch the field. They catch passes underneath, and it's yards after the catch that you watch with these 2, that they can catch the short ones and turn them into long runs.
How about the difference between these 2 receivers? Different styles for both of them as well.
Yeah, Josh Reed tends to work underneath. He's more of the slot receiver, whereas Darius Watts is more on the outside and likes to get deep. I talked with him yesterday out at their walkthrough, and he likes to stretch the field vertically, whereas you get Josh Reed underneath, and he catches the ball, but both of them can take it to the house.
Marshall has won the toss, and they will receive, so they will get the football first. It is the first ever meeting between these 2 schools. Marshall 1-2 against the SEC, beat South Carolina in '98, lost to Ole Miss in the Motor City Bowl, and got drilled by Florida. We are underway. It is high, and it is short, taken by the up man, Chris Royal. And Royal with a little bit of running room, coming to the near side. Look out for Royal! And stops and spins out of bounds. Great field position for Marshall. A return of 35 yards for Chris Royal. The hit by Rashad Baker, working on special teams. The Marshall offense led by Stan Hill, the man from Mississippi wearing Brett Favre's number. Talks with Byron Leftwich a couple of times a week.
Yeah, he really does. They do a good job of communicating, as well as Chad Pennington as well. Last week, 67%, but he had 3 interceptions. He's got to cut down on the interceptions if he's going to give Marshall a chance to win.
1st and 10 for the Marshall 47. Raider in motion. Rolling right is Hill. Penalty marker is down. And they will stop the play. So the first play has a penalty marker. Our referee today is William Algie. They are from the Mid-American Conference.
The last thing you want is a...
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, 5 yards, still
first down.
Yeah, this isn't how you want to start it if you're Marshall after a big return. You don't want to go backwards. You want to have positive yards, especially early on the road in a hostile environment like this in front of 107,000.
All week at Marshall in Huntington, West Virginia, Andre, they've been playing Rocky Top at practice in an attempt to try to get used to this crowd, but I'm not sure there's anything that can really replicate just how loud it is here.
No, you really can't, and it's just once you get here, you have to make the adjustments.
1st and 15 from the 42. And the give is to Butchie Wallace. He picks up 1. It'll bring up 2nd and 14. So a look at the Marshall offense. Wallace out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Then Darius Watson, Josh Davis are the headlines. Jason Rader is the former Georgia Bulldog.
Yeah, Jason Rader is a tight end who'll stretch the middle of the field for the Marshall offense. Good tight end.
And the offensive line is huge. 315 across. Nate McBeak, a future NFL player, a preseason All-American. So 5 receivers for Marshall on 2nd and 14. Here's Hill across the middle, and it is dropped in Tennessee territory. Darius Watts couldn't hang on to the football, and he had a lot of territory in front of him. Take a look at the Tennessee defense. Konstantin Ritzman, the Germinator. He's from Germany. A knee injury last year, and along with Harrison, they will be bringing a lot of pressure today. And the linebackers, Robert Peace is in the middle. Really a lot of speed, a lot of power, a lot of violence from these guys. The defensive back, look for Jabari Green. He is the quarterback back there. And also Rashad Baker, a very active back. So it's 3rd and 14 from the 43. Hill out of the shotgun. All 3 wide receivers at the top of your screen. With time, dumps it. And it is caught in Tennessee territory down at the 45 is Butchie Wallace. It's a pickup of 11. Jabril Wilson, the strong safety, making the stop.
Yeah, it's a good job by Stan Hill of just trying to take what they give him. Don't force any turnovers. Nobody's open down the field. Tennessee's playing deep zone. Drop it off to your back and let him try to pick up the first down, but do not turn the football over early in this ball game.
Clint Rose can't hang on to the ball. Look out. Scoops it up and gets rid of it. A spiral yet to boot. And brought down at the 27-yard line for Tennessee. And that's where the Vols will take over the ball. A 24-yard punt and a 6-yard return. But what a job by Clint Rose, the pre-med major out of Lexington, Kentucky.
Yeah, the long snapper Jeff Mullins for Marshall just over the head of the punter, Clint Rose, and he does a fabulous job of just getting this punt off because Kevin Barnett was there to block it. I don't know how he got it off, Jeff.
Pretty amazing. Here's Casey Clausen from Northridge, California, second only to Peyton Manning statistically. 1st and 10 from the 27-yard line. And Manning, he wants to throw, and it's Clausen, and it is caught at the 44-yard line. A gain is 17. Mark Jones makes the grab. So the Tennessee offense, Cedric Houston, the man to watch, crushed Fresno State a week ago. And this is known as wide receiver U. Mark Jones with all the speed. James Banks also with great foot speed.
Yeah, Mark Jones is going to play offense, defense, special teams. A lot of looks from him today.
And the offensive line led by Michael Munoz. He is the junior captain. So it's 1st down. And here is the give to the tailback. It's Cedric Houston who picks up 4, bring up 2nd and 6. Now we'll take a look at the Marshall defense. Their line, pint size comparatively, 3 returning starters. Jonathan Goddard is the biggest playmaker up front. Marshall uses lots of combinations as far as the backers go. J.D. Rembert is always busy. He'll be doing a lot of blitzes today. And the defensive backs as Roberto Terrell, the only player returning. 2nd and 7. And the give straight up the middle. It's Cedric Houston again. And the tackle by Kevin Atkins. He's the middle linebacker. It's a gain of 3.
It's a huge difference along the offensive and defensive line. Those big guys down in the trenches. You see there, 305 pounds that Tennessee averages over 260 for just Marshall. That's a lot of weight coming at you for 60 minutes.
Does that eventually wear them down?
Absolutely, especially it's a bit humid, not too hot, but eventually it gets to you.
3rd and short. Up the middle, and And spinning is Cedric Houston. Houston should have enough for the first down. He picks up 4. And on the stop is Mariah Anderson, a free safety who came up for Marshall to make the stop.
Cedric Houston is just a big, powerful runner with great speed and acceleration. Good vision once he gets in the hole. There he's just trying to secure a first down, get positive yards, and keep the chains moving for Casey Clausen in this offense.
So in Marshall territory, it's 1st and 10 from the 45. Houston left side, and this time the Marshall defense is there to rack him up. Not a lot of room on the hit. Willie Smith is over there. It's a pickup of 2. Now it'll bring up 2nd and 8.
Just not a lot of room because Marshall's packing 8 guys in the box around the line of scrimmage, and if you can't stop Tennessee from running the ball with 8 guys around, you're going to have a long afternoon. There they were successful, but Clausen will recognize that being a veteran quarterback and pick it up when he sees those 8 guys in the box.
On 2nd and 9 from the 44. Clausen with time going up top and overshoots his target. Jonathan Wade. And pretty good coverage by Roberto Terrell, the left quarterback.
A little pressure there from Reggie Hayes, who was coming from his backside, was trying to run a little out and up along the sideline, had man-to-man coverage. And Reggie Hayes applying a little pressure, forcing Casey Clausen to get rid of it a little bit faster than he wanted to.
Boy, Clausen was banged up last year. He had the ligament problems in his ankle and the collarbone. Told us yesterday that it felt great playing football where he wasn't hurting every time he got hit.
Well, he is a tough competitor who fights and scratches for this Tennessee football team.
3rd and 9 out of the shotgun. Here's Clausen and dropped. Tough catch to make by C.G. Phaeton out of Virginia Beach. Charles Tynes was working on him. Ball's a little bit behind him, too.
I think that's a big series of downs for Marshall, especially going backwards on offense. Sometimes your defense, you get a big return, they get a little down when they see the offense, go backwards a little bit. So that's a big series for Marshall in terms of rallying, almost a block punt, and getting out of that situation. Good job by their defense.
Dustin Colquitt is the punter. And it is high and floating. And inside the 5 and scooped up by Tennessee. A fine job by the Vols. Mark Jones working on special teams. A 39-yard punt. Chad Pennington and Byron Leftwich are part of the grand legacy of quarterbacking at Marshall. Now it is time to see if Stan Hill can replace these 2 great All-Americans who have left for the National Football League. We'll see how he fares straight ahead. Scoreless, Marshall and from the 4-yard line for Stan Hill and Marshall. Scoreless with Tennessee and noisy in that end zone.
This is important possession for Marshall. Down inside your 10-yard line, you cannot turn the football over.
And the handoff with some running room across the 10, the 15. Here's Earl Charles and a first down, bringing along Tennessee defenders. Wilson on the tackle, a pickup at 25 yards for the junior from Brooklyn, New York.
Does 2 things for Marshall. Right here gives them breathing room as well as confidence in the running game. Earl Charles is a guy who was highly recruited out of junior college, Fresno City College, and came in here, just had a fantastic spring, and has just taken off for this Marshall team.
Charles is out. Butchie Wallace is in on 1st and 10 from the 29. They had over 600 yards of offense against Hofstra last week. Swinging it out, far side, and it is caught with some running room. And into Tennessee territory is Josh Davis, one of those outstanding wide receivers for Marshall. It's a gain of 23.
Yeah, this is what we refer to as just a little bubble screen. He just fires it right out there, and it's just one-on-one with a defensive back. And we talked about it in the open. Josh Reed's one of the best receivers in the entire country. Once you get the football in his hands, the yards after the catch.
They have moved from the 4-yard line now to the 49-yard line of Tennessee. First down. They need to get to the 39. Across the middle and a little too hot on the throw from Stan Hill to Jason Schrader, who is the wide receiver.
The Jason Schrader's another guy they like. One catch last week against Hofstra for 15 yards. But right here, he's got picked up man-to-man. They're trying to go a little zone, but man through the zone. Just got to hold on to that one.
Earl Charles is in, and Wallace is out on 2nd and 10 from the 49 of Tennessee. Shotgun formation now for Marshall. Here comes the blitz. Hill in trouble. He'll keep the ball. He's got running room. First down. Hill showing the speed. And down to the 15, maybe the 14 is Stan Hill. Here comes Marshall, a gain of 34 yards, tackled by Jabari Greer.
Yeah, I talked to Coach Larry Cack, the offensive coordinator, and I asked him, what's the difference in Stan Hill and Byron Leftwich? He said Stan Hill's a little more mobile. When things break down, he can make plays with his legs. And there's a heads-up runner wanting to get out of bounds, but they give him a little bit more. He turns back inside, showing that tough Mississippi body.
Hill is the first member of his family not to go to Ole Miss. Instead, he opts for Marshall, his father a high school coach. 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line. A handoff, and Earl Charles is met and spun down. A fine defensive play for Tennessee.
Yeah, last week, Tennessee only gave up 4 first downs, and they've already given up 3 to this Marshall team in the first quarter.
Look at Paris Harrelson, who makes the stop out of Flora, Mississippi.
All right, if you're Marshall this early in the ball game, the crowd is quiet. You got to keep them quiet. Keep moving the chains and having success gradually. You don't need to do anything spectacular, no big plays. Just move the chains.
After the loss of 2, 2nd and 12. Hill wants to throw. Here comes the pressure. Gets it away, and it's caught by Darius Watts, but a penalty marker at the 11-yard line. On the tackle, Antoine Stewart, who is the right cornerback. And we'll hear from William Algie. So it goes against Tennessee. Everything going Marshall's way. When you think about this drive, it began at the 4-yard line of the Thundering Herd. In a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game, the Tennessee Titans meet the Oakland Raiders on Sunday Night Football. Both teams loaded with offense, driven to win. It's going to be a pretty good shootout. Raiders and Titans Sunday night at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. Available nationwide on ESPN HD. It all starts with NFL Primetime, brought to you by Miller Lite at 7:30 Eastern.
Yeah, that last play Marshall ran, they showed a bunch look with 3 guys left of the formation. And what he does is 2 things. Sometimes it's a natural pick, and sometimes it's a design pick. And that's how you get the holding call, because somebody runs wide open, and you have defensive backs and linebackers reaching and holding jerseys because they know that they're beaten. If you get beat down inside the 10, it could be for a touchdown.
Double tight end set now for Marshall of Jason Rader and Jeff Mullen. Here is Hill rolling into the end zone. Caught and then dropped. Is he in? Yes. Touchdown, Jason Rader, a former Georgia Bulldog, making the grab, an 8-yard touchdown strike.
Well, what a fantastic throw and a fantastic catch. Stan Hill rolling to his left, and that is a very, very difficult throw to make. When you show play action and you're going to roll to your left, here he sets his feet, and boom, right in between Rashard Baker and Jason Allen.
Ben Lewis, the point after attempt, and it is good. So Marshall has quieted this big crowd in Knoxville, Tennessee. A 96-yard touchdown drive. How awesome was that? It's Marshall 7, Tennessee nothing, and the Thundering Herd feeling it here. Amidst this, well, we haven't heard much of Rocky Top so far, particularly after that drive. But I think, Andre, the most important note of those graphics there, 3 plays over 20 yards, it really broke Tennessee's back on the drive.
Yeah, it shows the big play capability of the Marshall offense. 6 plays, unbelievable success. And how big is it that you can come into a place like this, a full house, and take the ball down the field and score first on Tennessee.
There's the kick. It is scooped up picked up by Troy Fleming. And Fleming finds some room on special teams for Tennessee and brought down at about the 35-yard line. It's a return of 25 yards. On the tackle is Dennis Thornton.
Yeah, Casey Clausen, he doesn't have to do anything spectacular in this drive. Just move the chains. It's only 7 points. There's a lot of time left in this football game. I think a lot of young quarterbacks, they get themselves into trouble when you get behind and you feel like, well, I got to catch up right now. It's a 60-minute ball game, not just a couple of minutes.
Marshall finished number 19 last year in the polls. 4 times they have finished in the top 25. And here's Tennessee now down 7-0 to Marshall at Neyland Stadium. And here is Houston, cutting it against the grain and spinning to the 40. Let's go to Matt Weiner in our studio right now after a gain of 4.
All right, Jeff, Taco Bell takes us to Boulder, Colorado. UCLA, the Carl Durrell era begins in his old stomping grounds. Brian Calhoun, around end, chewing up big yardage to the 15. Couple plays later, it's Bobby Purify into the end zone, buffs up 7-zip.
All right, Matt, thank you. Colorado off to a pretty good start after that victory being Colorado State at Invesco at Mile High last week. 2nd and 6. This is Houston, and Houston met by a host of white jerseys trimmed in green. Martin is there, the right end. He's out of Martinsville, Virginia, for no gain. And it'll bring up 3rd down and 6.
Yeah, there's a bunch of guys around the line of scrimmage here, and Casey Clausen's got to get the Volunteers out of this play. They just can't run against 8, 9 guys in the box. You got to pick it up. He's got the flexibility to check out of plays. Pick it up. You got one-on-one coverage on the outside.
So 3 wide receivers now for Tennessee, and out of the shotgun is Casey Clausen. Clausen gets rid of it, man, out there, and it's incomplete through the hands of his wide receiver, Mark Jones. And that's the ball I think Jones would like to try and bring in again.
He got tremendous pressure from Marcus Harrison from the outside. Because Casey Clausen relaxed just right around the tackle there on that side, Cody Douglas. And Jonathan Goodard was there as well to help him out, finish it up. Tremendous pressure by the Marshall defense.
Punter is Dustin Colquitt, his 2nd punt of the ball game, standing at his 26. High and floating, here is Chris Royal. Back to the middle. Nice bit of dancing by Royal. And up to the 34 to 42-yard punt, 14-yard return. Omar Gaither on the tackle. Tonight, ESPN and ESPN2 have 2 great college football games for you at 7:15 Eastern. Florida State hosts the Maryland Terrapins. Ralph Friedgen on ESPN2. Then at 7:45 Eastern on ESPN, Mike Shula. And the Crimson Tide welcome Bob Stoops of the #1 ranked Oklahoma Sooners to Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. College football on ESPN. Every game is a must-win. 1st and 10 for the Marshall 34. Up 7-0 on Tennessee. And here is Butchie Wallace, knocked out of bounds along the sidelines after pickup of 3. Here's Matt Weiner in our studio. Matt.
All right, Jeff, Mike Bellotti shuffling his quarterbacks around again is Oregon at home against Nevada. Jason Fife has thrown one of them so far. Here it is, 43 yards, Sammy Parker. That's efficiency. That's a touchdown. Ducks up 17-zip in the 2nd.
No trouble for Oregon. In spite of those uniforms. Gotten a lot of attention with those, haven't they? 5 wide receivers for Stan Hill on 2nd and 7 from his 37. Downfield and incomplete. Wanted Darius Watts, but well covered. Tennessee had him well thought out and well covered by Rashad Baker.
Yeah, they try to go to the corner with a 2-deep look by Tennessee. And I asked Stan Hill, I said, when you get in trouble, what's the route that you like to hear from the offensive coordinator most? And he said, it's the corner route. I could throw it in my sleep. You know, I wake up throwing it. I get to practice. It's the first thing I work on. He's comfortable throwing that route. We'll see a lot more of that play throughout the afternoon.
Stan's father was a quarterback at UT Chattanooga right up the road. On 3rd and 7, Hill with time, firing, and incomplete at the 40-yard line. He had his man Darius Watts, but Rashad Baker on the coverage for Tennessee. It'll bring up 4th down.
And that's the same play that they ran the previous play before. You go right back to the corner. He was wide open before. It gives Stan a chance to come right back to it, and he misfires again.
More than 100,000 here in Knoxville, Tennessee, seeing number 14, Tennessee taking on Marshall. But it's the Thundering Herd on top, 7-0 here in the first quarter. And the punt by Rose is low and taken by Baker. And Baker giving Tennessee pretty good field position up to the 40, a 39-yard punt. And Baker a 12-yard return. Jeff Deifel on the stop for Marshall. 7-0, Thundering Herd lead the ball. We're in Knoxville. Marshall on top of Tennessee, something Fresno State didn't do last week, Andre, and that is try to establish some kind of running attack and get the ball in the air and try to put Tennessee on their heels, and they've effectively done that.
This is uncharted waters for Tennessee. 103 total yards here for Marshall, only 35 for Tennessee.
On 1st and 10 from the 41. Clausen, play action up top, one-on-one coverage, and too long for Jason Swain out of Huntsville, Alabama. He is a freshman. So Clausen now 1 for 5 and 17 yards. We'll bring up 2nd down.
That's what we talked about a little earlier, not trying to get too much, just move the chains. You've got a fabulous running game in Cedric Houston, but here Casey Clausen with the play action, they take a guy through the seam, try to clear out the safety, and then outside is just deliver a little better ball, and you got a chance.
2nd down. 3 wide receivers for Tennessee. And here's Houston, and not much in there. Let's go to Matt Weiner in our studio after a gain of 4.
Jeff, Rutgers rolling into East Lansing this afternoon. The Scarlet Knights tied at 7 with the Spartans until Ryan Hart finds Samuel Johnson, and Rutgers up a touchdown in the 2nd.
Start seeing a lot of Rutgers football shirts around shopping malls in America if they keep that up.
Oh, Rutgers.
So 3rd down for Tennessee. They need to get to the 49-yard line of Marshall. They are 1 for 3 on 3rd down conversions. And here's the reverse. It is to Wade in trouble. Reversing his field and brought down. A fine job for Marshall on the play. It is Chris Royal who makes the hit. He's been looking very good on special teams, a loss of 10.
Just staying at home and not getting himself out of position was Chris Royal to make this play. This is a guy they like a lot. Jonathan Wade, the Tennessee coach is really high on him as a receiver. Played well last week for him. Is a returner as well, but he's certainly nowhere to go in that instance.
Mel Guillory and Chris Royal are deep. Dustin Colquitt, his 3rd punt, averaging 40.5. This is a towering spiral. And scooped up out of his own end zone now. It is Guillory, and brought down inside the 5. 56-yard punt. And a loss of 4 on the return, so Marshall is familiar with this indeed. Bad field position, but they took it 96 yards for a score earlier in the quarter.
Yeah, if you're Bob Pruitt, the head coach of Marshall, this is not how you want to make a living. Right there, if you see his hands, they turn upwards and caused him to miss this punt. You usually catch it down into what they call the breadbasket, field it, tuck it away, and then go. But the punt was so high and so long, just kind of panicked on it. But they went 96 before.
2 tight ends, Jason Rader and Jeff Mullins now for Marshall on 1st down. And they give up the middle. Finding some running room against the defensive line of Tennessee. It's a gain of 7 for Butchie Wallace out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Kevin Burnett, the outside linebacker, came up to make the hit.
Well, we talk a lot about the Tennessee offensive line, but Luke Salmons and Nate McPeak doing a fantastic job up front. Joey Stepp as well, the center for Marshall, but Nate McPeak has switched over from the right side to the left side. He's switched over for Steve Shulo, who's now the starting guard for the Indianapolis Colts.
You may see McPeak in the NFL
Absolutely.
Too, pretty soon. 2nd and 3. And down goes Butchie Wallace. A fine defensive play made by Kevin Burnett, the outside linebacker, and it's a loss of 6.
Yeah, he's a Butkus on the Butkus watch list for this season, Kevin Burnett. When he's healthy, he's one of the best in the country. Right there, he comes through untouched. He has speed to burn. Last year, on the all-academic SEC team, 3.0 student, smart guy. Well, they keep him healthy, and he's going to be quite a football player for Tennessee.
Yeah, and their linebackers are so fast. I mean, they really are tops in the SEC.
They are.
Stay healthy. 3rd and 10. Hill out of the shotgun from his end zone. He'll keep the football. Up the middle he goes, and it up for the first down. Up to the 17-yard line, a gain of 14 for Stan Hill, and Hill is hurt. Holding his left knee, tackled by Jason Allen.
Well, he went down kind of awkward. Tennessee's in zone coverage, and it just kind of spreads. Pardon the C's part. Stan Hill comes down awkwardly right there on that left knee, and you can see him immediately reaching for it. Nothing open down the field. Just take off with it, get the first down, and get down. And right there as the knee plants.
So a look at Graham Gochner. He is the backup quarterback and will be coming in for Stan Hill after this break. Well, it looks like Stan Hill is okay. He was able to jog off along the sidelines. Severity, we're not sure, but we do know we're going to see Graham Gochner at least for a play or two.
Yeah, everything just parted, but right here when he came down on that left knee was when he kind of fell awkwardly and came up holding the knee, jogs off. Hopefully he's okay.
You know, Hill has had 2 carries for 48 yards. And really, I think, has surprised the Tennessee defense with his speed.
I think the surprise here would be to see Gochner rear back and throw one deep. Everybody in the house is expecting him to hand it off.
Junior college transfer. 1st and 10 from the 17-yard line. Jason Rader in motion. The man who caught the touchdown. Here is the handoff. And the Tennessee defense, a wall of orange. Kevin Simon, the outside linebacker, came up to make the hit on Earl Charles. It's a loss of 2. It'll bring up 2nd and 12.
I think you or I could have called that defensive. That defense. You get a backup quarterback in. He's not warm. What's he going to do? He's going to hand it off.
Here is Stan Hill. The pride of Tupelo, Mississippi. With all due respect to Elvis, he is the king today for Marshall fans.
A tough guy. Gritty guy.
2nd and 12 from the shotgun formation. Blitz gets rid of it to Wallace. Check it, it's Charles, and Charles is dropped down after a pickup of about 3 yards. Tackled by Carlton Neal out of Chicago, Illinois. He's the left end.
Well, Larry Cack is really calling a pretty good game for Marshall. Good mixture of plays and run and pass. But last week against Hofstra, these 2 guys right here, Wallace and Charles, 11 carries, 50 yards for Charles, 16 carries, 86 yards. Marshall's not all pass.
They'd be happy to get those yards today against Tennessee. 3rd and 8 from the 19. 1 for 3 on 3rd down attempts. Here comes the blitz. Hill in trouble. And just throwing the ball out of bounds along the Tennessee sideline. It'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, it's a good job because you don't want to run out of bounds and lose yardage and force your punter into a bad situation. Good heads-up play by the junior quarterback for Marshall. Escapes outside, a little pressure, gets outside the pocket, and just floats one out of bounds. Good job. Don't try to force anything. Don't turn the football over. Live to fight another down.
Punter is Clint Rose. And Baker is deep. It is a low punt, and this is a good one to return. And Baker will give Tennessee excellent field position in midfield. 39-yard punt, 4-yard return. Let's go to Matt Weiner now.
Jeff, Auburn in danger of falling from 6th in the top 25 right out of the poll at Georgia Tech today. P.J. Daniels, short touchdown run there. And the Ramblin' Wreck up 10-0. Meanwhile, Washington State leading at South Bend 19-3. The Irish have put it on the turf 4 times and lost 3 of them already.
What a difference a week makes in the life and times of Auburn fans.
Boy, it's been a tough 2 weeks right now, according to the score.
On 1st down from the 49-yard line of Tennessee. Casey Clausen in the Vols down 7-0. Here's the pitch. It's Houston and tripped up behind the line of scrimmage. Houston is able to get 2 yards. Reggie Hayes on the stop. And Gladstone Cook, the Rover from Moore Haven, Florida, also was there for Marshall.
Yeah, Gladstone Cook just does a fabulous job. Watch him fight this block off and squirt underneath the blocker to come up and make this tackle. Good job of keeping your shoulder pads down, fighting underneath the block, and getting in on the tackle. Fabulous job.
2nd and 8. Needs to get to the 41-yard line of Marshall. Clausen with time, near side. Fantastic catch by C.J. Phaeton, who brought that football in. That's what you like as a quarterback, a receiver that can make you look good on not one of your best passes.
Absolutely, but he does a fabulous job of running this route. He starts down inside and draws the defense down, and then at the last second works his way back outside in order to give Casey Clausen a throwing lane.
Rolling to the end of the first quarter. 3rd down for Tennessee.
Clausen directing traffic, switching plays.
And he wants to throw. Dumps it across the middle. It is caught. Tony Brown up with the football. It's a gain of 4. Tackled by Chris Royal, and it's enough for a first down.
Yeah, this is a good sign of a veteran quarterback at the line of scrimmage, just checking down, seeing everything around him, looking down the field. Receiver shows up right in front of me. Let me get the first down and give it to him. Fabulous job by Casey Clausen, moving the chains for this Volunteer offense.
And that is the end of the first quarter. Tennessee on the march here, but it is Marshall leading the number 14 Volunteers 7-0. A look at Phil Fulmer once more from Tennessee, but Marshall has quieted the crowd. We'll see if they can keep it going in the second quarter. 7-0. We'll be back after this. Generations of Tennesseans united by their love of orange. The Tennessee Volunteers on the move here as we begin the second quarter, trailing Marshall 7-0. I'm Jeff Hullinger with Andre Ware. It's 1st and 10 from the 40. Clausen wants to throw. Plenty of time. Out of the pocket. He'll keep the football. And sliding down. First down for Tennessee. A gain of 16 yards. So both quarterbacks for Marshall and Tennessee finding some room on the ground. The ESPN2 game track. Marshall, a 96-yard touchdown drive. Stan Hill finding his tight end Jason Rader. Now that's where we are right now. 7-0 in the opening quarter. For Marshall, some good defensive play.
Yeah, only 40 yards of total offense in the first quarter for Tennessee. Good job by the Marshall defense.
On first down, a penalty marker and maybe a little bit of motion as Gladstone Cook makes the hit on Cedric Houston.
Prior to the snap, full start on the offense, 5 yards, still first down.
Let's go to Matt Weiner for an update now.
All right, Jeff, let's get you caught up on UCLA and Colorado. Drew Olson back to pass, looking for Craig Bragg, and he's got him. Touchdown Bruins, first TD of the Carl Durrell era. We're all tied up in Boulder. Meanwhile, Indiana and Washington, the Huskies try to bounce back from the Ohio State loss, up 7-0.
Back to Knoxville. Here is Clausen. Deep drop with time. Going into double coverage. Almost intercepted. As his receiver, James Banks, was well covered by Willie Smith, who had a track on that football. Looked like maybe you might come up with a turnover.
Yeah, and there Banks shows a little inexperience. The defender here is up top, so he's got to flatten this route off a little bit more for Casey Clausen. Casey also has to lead him to the sideline. You can beat the defender with the throw more so than with the route.
Clausen off to a slow start. Didn't play very well against Fresno in the victory last week here. But today you see his numbers.
Tough outing last week. 2 interceptions against Fresno last week.
On second and long, Clausen with time dumps it, and it's caught at the 25-yard line by his receiver, who makes the grab. It is Corey Larkins, who picks up 5 yards.
No, we mentioned only 40 yards of total offense in the first quarter for Tennessee, but this Marshall defense, there's not just one guy making a tackle. There's 3 or 4 jerseys around the pile rallying to the football. They showed up this afternoon ready to play some football.
Seeing a lot of Willie Smith, the right cornerback. A couple of tackles already. So 3rd and 11 from the 25. They need to get to the 14-yard line. Clausen out of the shotgun with 4 wide receivers. Here comes the blitz. Gets rid of it quickly, and it's caught by James Banks. Touchdown, Tennessee.
Boy, it's good recognition on the part of Casey Clausen. Charlie Tynes blitzes and leaves Banks one-on-one outside with Willie Smith. You see the blitz here. Good recognition by Casey Clausen on the slant route. Little communication outside and completion. Touchdown. James Banks is going to be a fine receiver.
Willoyd with the point after attempt, and it is good. So Tennessee has tied the game here in the second quarter. The fine offensive drive on the Marshall defense. You can bank on it. 7-7. Look at Casey Clausen, pretty good on that drive. Started to find maybe a little bit of rhythm in the Tennessee offense. He finds Banks, a former quarterback who still considers himself a quarterback.
Yeah, and next year he wants to move back to quarterback when Casey Clausen leaves, but he's going to have a tough time convincing that coaching staff to move him back after the display he's made here today as well as last week. He had a touchdown pass last week.
I thought it was interesting how Casey Clausen yesterday talked about, well, whoever plays quarterback next year, his brother, of course, is transferred from LSU. You have to be very diplomatic for family reasons.
Well, you really do, but they're going to have some talented receivers next year.
Newman kicking off, and it is low and skips to the end zone as Earl Charles will watch it, and Marshall will take over at the 20-yard line. Out of Marietta, Georgia is Newman.
Let's go back and take a look at this touchdown pass. We get a blitz from the outside here on Casey Clausen. He recognizes it, and it creates a big throwing lane on this part of the field. Boom, right into the throwing lane comes James Banks. One-on-one coverage with Willie Smith. Good recognition on the part of the quarterback as well as the receiver.
First down from the 20-yard line for Marshall. Charles gets the ball. And not much there as Tennessee with excellent pursuit. About 3.5 to 4. Antoine Stewart, the right cornerback from Dumfries, Virginia. The freshman came up to make the tackle.
Earl Charles is a guy they recruited from Fresno City Community College out in California, and you ask him, well, how did you get to Marshall? He says, it's the closest school to Brooklyn where I'm from. So that's where I like the offense, and it's close to Brooklyn. I got to go to school there.
I think of a lot of great football players from Brooklyn. Here's the handoff, pickup of one for Charles. Brooklyn, a hotbed of a lot of great basketball, but football's a little bit of a different story.
He was fabulous last year in junior college, over 1,500 yards rushing, 19 touchdown passes. You know what, Jeff? He can catch the ball out of the backfield as well. 19 receptions, 251 yards. He can do it all. And you have to in this offense.
That's what I always think about Marshall, how athletic their entire lineup is. 3rd and 5 from the 25. 1 for 4 on third down attempts. Hill will operate out of the shotgun. He's got 4 wide receivers with time, and it is caught. And a first down and more. Darius Watts. And Watts gets into Tennessee territory at the 41-yard line. Wilson on the stop, and it is a gain of 34 yards for Marshall.
We talked about it at the top of the set. The yards after the catch, he's got speed to burn. He catches this one on a little crossing route right across the field. Stan Hill does a good job of getting him the football on the run, allowing him to make those yards after the catch. He's nicknamed the Spider-Man because he makes such acrobatic catches. Boy, he is a fantastic talent, and we'll show that on Sunday afternoons next year somewhere.
Watts from College Park, Georgia, which if you have ever been to Atlanta and Hartsfield International Airport, that's where all the rental car agencies are, right through College Park.
Please reset the clock to 12:08.
You know, we were talking to him yesterday. He said, yeah, I want to hear that Rocky Top song all day. And I said, well, if they're scoring, that's when they're going to play it. So I'm not so sure you want to hear it all day. He said, yeah, that's right.
You don't hear many opponents who long to hear Rocky Top.
That's right.
That might be a first in the stadium. All right, 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line for Marshall. 7-7 with Tennessee. Play action rolling right is Hill. and short hops it to Josh Davis, who is the other 1,000-yard receiver from a year ago. Rashad Baker, the coverage for Tennessee. It'll bring up 2nd and 10.
Yeah, they try to pull Luke Salmons around, and a little play action pass here. You see the guard here pull around and help out Stan Hill. And his footing it looked like he lost his footing on that throw. Had a receiver out there, but just right there, the right leg that time kind of comes from under him a little bit.
2nd and 10 from the 40. Here comes the blitz. Down goes Hill. 49-yard line of Marshall. Kevin Simon, the outside linebacker. How about how fast he is? A loss of 10 yards.
Yeah, he was a parade All-American out of high school, and just fabulous speed from him. Last year he missed the final 9 games. He had a broken ankle, but he's back. He's healthy, comes through on a blitz, and it looked like he was shot out of a cannon. He got to Stan Hill so fast.
I think it'll be interesting to see how this kind of pressure impacts Hill long-term in this game. It impacted Fresno State last week.
You kind of just know you're going to get hit at certain times. You got to get rid of the football. With the pressure comes man-to-man, so he's going to have an opportunity to make some plays outside.
3rd and long. They need to get to the 31-yard line. Across the middle, it is caught. And down quickly. It's a pickup of only 5 for Josh Davis, and Marshall will have to punt.
I think another way for Marshall to offset the pressure is to do exactly what they did on that possession, not get yourself in 3rd and long, but throw some short, fast, crisp passes for Stan Hill on 1st and 2nd down. Get him in that 3rd and medium to 3rd and short range, and then you can operate.
Clint Rose, this will be his 4th punt. Rashad Baker is deep. This is a shank. And it goes out of bounds very quickly. And it will turn out okay for Tennessee. They'll get it at the 20-yard line. A 25-yard punt by Rose. Finish your college football Saturday tonight with great regional action at 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC. Catch Florida against fellow Sunshine State powerhouse Miami, or BYU and USC. Florida versus Miami is also available nationwide on ESPN Game Plan. Check local listings for the games in your area.
It's USC and Norm Chow against BYU, his former team, and that's a pretty good one. The Battle of Florida, Miami and Florida. Whew, some good football.
Did such a great day with a great job with Carson Palmer last year.
Absolutely.
Brigham Young, Lavelle Edwards, 23 years. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. And here is Jabari Davis. Davis to the 29. It's a gain of 9 yards, tackled by Gladstone Coe. So if you're Marshall, you have to live in fear that this Tennessee offense will start to establish the run, which will open up the pass for Casey Clausen.
Well, they do right here. You watch the block of the fullback. At the point of attack, just chopping his man down, allowing Jabari Davis to get outside on the stretch play. Fabulous block there by William Ripple.
Jason Swain is the man in motion. He wears number 1 on 2nd and 1. Hit at the 31-yard line, Jabari Davis, a gain of 1. Kevin Atkins, the middle linebacker, is there. We're at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee. More than 100,000 have gathered to watch their beloved Volunteers, ranked number 14 in the country, facing Marshall, a program that's all about winning. And it's been a heck of a football game so far. 7-7, with both teams getting some long drives.
Yeah, a lot of orange and very little green.
1st and 10 from the 31. Clausen with 3 wide receivers. Here's the play action. Flushed out of the pocket. And down he goes. Down goes Clausen. Toriano Brown out of Batesville, Mississippi, the nose tackle. It's a loss of 3.
He suffered a turf toe, but still seemed to play okay last week. Was just relentless in his pass rush there. Pre-counseling major. Good football player. Just always running to get to the quarterback.
How tough to play defense at Marshall when the offense is such a quick strike?
Yeah, because you're on the field a bunch. No rest whatsoever.
2nd and long from the 28-yard line, jumping offsides. Michael Munoz may have moved. He is the junior captain, son of the NFL great.
Full start on the offense. 5 yards. still second.
Well, he was instrumental this summer in organizing the summer workouts for the guys to get them in, work out, do some stuff on the field. And when you miss, you had to run 10 gassers. It only happened one time. That's when you run across the field and back 10 times. Let me tell you, you get tired running gassers. Not too many guys miss. It only happened one time.
And you don't see a lot of academic All-Americans making the mental
That's right.
2nd and 18 from the 23. Clausen out of the shotgun. He's got 4 wide receivers. In trouble, and down goes Clausen at the 20-yard line. A loss of 3 yards. Toriano Brown is there, his 2nd sack of the ball game.
Boy, when you can get pressure with just 3 or 4 guys, watch him. Toriano Smith right here, Toriano Brown right here, just relentless. Doesn't stop. Casey Clausen comes right to him. You can get that kind of pressure on 3rd down and long, 2nd down and long with just your front 4 guys. It allows you to play zone defense and keep guys back in pass coverage, make it difficult for Casey Clausen to see down the field.
Defensive coordinator for Marshall is Bill Witt on 3rd and forever. And it is Houston hit at the 30. A gain of 9 yards, tackled by Mariah Anderson from Washington, Fort Washington, Maryland.
And you get teams in 3rd down and long. Big gaping hole here, but no harm done because it's such a long yardage situation that all you want to do is keep things in front of you and not allow them to get to the 1st down marker. You know they're going to punt on 4th down. You just got to keep the play in front of them.
Dustin Colquitt standing at his 15-yard line, and the deep men are Tremel Guillory and Chris Royal. Oh, what a punt this is. Wow, what a punt, turning over at the 15. Guillory takes it. And as he hit at the 24-yard line, a 55-yard punt, a 9-yard return, and on the stick for Tennessee, it is Troy Fleming. Now let's take a look at our Aflac trivia question. What active Division 1A coach has the longest tenure at his alma mater? Think about it. We'll come back with the answer to Knoxville, Tennessee after this. Neyland Stadium in September. Great afternoon for football. Not so great for those wearing orange right now as Marshall tied with Tennessee. Our Aflac trivia question, what active Division 1A coach has the longest tenure at his alma mater? You know that one, Andre?
Well, there we go. I do now.
Yes, Frank Beamer is the answer, the fine coach at Virginia Tech.
I didn't know that.
Boy, he has had a lot of opportunities to leave Virginia Tech over the years. His loyalty has kept him there along with a pretty good contract.
We've got a pretty good game right here in front of us, and it's like momentum. It's kind of sitting in the middle of the field and can't decide
Their first timeout.
which sideline to go to.
So Tennessee will take a timeout here. You know, you think about coaches who are at their alma mater, and there, of course, is Beamer.
There's our guy. There are our guys right there.
Yep.
Tennessee, Philip Fulmer since 1992, and Bob Pruitt at Marshall.
Oh, they have done great jobs
Yes.
at their schools. Let's go to Matt Weiner right now in our studio.
All right, Jeff, we've got a lively one brewing in East Lansing. Jeff Smoker throws an interception, return for a touchdown, and one good return deserves another. DeAndre Cobb weaving his way through the Scarlet Knights, 94 yards. Michigan State has now scored again. It's now 28-21 Spartans.
So Marshall with the football, and the give thrown out of bounds along the Marshall sideline is Butchie Wallace. A face mask. There is a penalty marker.
It looks like there's going to be a little bit more added on to this run. Butchie Wallace running hard as well as Earl Charles.
You know, Wallace is a guy who has had 2,000 yards in a career, and he has really been banged up. I mean, he's had a lot of injuries. And the other thing is, when you've been playing with Byron Leftwich, you're not going to run the ball.
I wonder if he's
Face mask on the defense. 5-yard penalty.
You know, he's from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I wonder if he's got any kind of golf game.
You do that dance down there called the shag.
That's right. Look at right here. You see Rashard Baker kind of reach in and get the face mask. Doesn't stop Butchie Wallace, though. He's still going forward.
Boy, if Marshall is supposed to be intimidated by this crowd, they have not shown any of that.
Not at all.
Everybody's focused on that, and that has not been an issue so far.
The crowd has been rather quiet this afternoon.
1st and 10 from the 34 for Stan Hill, tied at 7. With time and batted down. Hill had plenty of time, but the ball was batted down at the line of scrimmage by Greg Jones, the left tackle out of Jonesboro, Arkansas. He is a sophomore, and at 6'6", 300 pounds, you don't have to have much of a vertical leap. You just have to get one of those big paws up there.
Yeah, and he had Darius Watts coming wide open down the seam. I watched film on Stan Hill, watched film on the Marshall offense, and he completed 2 to Josh Reed like that, right down the hash mark. So it's a pass that he's comfortable with. He may try to come back to that one because he was wide open, coming open behind the linebacker.
2nd and 10 from the 34. Raider in motion. In trouble. And Hill goes down. Nobody faked out on the Tennessee side. Greer is there. The left cornerback gets a loss of 2. It'll bring up 3rd down.
Looked like they wanted to run some type of razzle-dazzle, a little fake, and the tight end around, maybe turn it into an option here. You see the fake, maybe a play, maybe a busted play because there's nobody there for Stan Hill. They could take another look, a different angle. All of a sudden, Butchie Wallace goes one way, Stan Hill goes the other. Nothing there.
3rd and long. 3rd and 12 from the 32. Here's Hill with time near side. It's caught and knocked out of bounds along the Marshall sideline is Darius Watts. It's a gain of 19 yards and a 1st down for Marshall, tackled by Antoine Stewart.
Boy, we mentioned the fact that this kid said, I could throw the corner route in my sleep as soon as I wake up. Right here, he gets Watts going down inside and back out to the corner. What a great move. Look at that move by Darius Watts to get himself open. Stan Hill right on time with the football.
Marshall not intimidated by Tennessee whatsoever. It's like it's another MAC game for them. 1st and 10 from the 49 of Tennessee. Here comes the blitz, the handoff up the middle, some running room for Butchie Wallace, and Wallace has another 1st down. He's to the 35, stopped by Rashard Baker. Check it, it's Earl Charles, and a gain of 14.
Boy, if you're the Tennessee coaching staff, and you got Zombrecker, who was the offensive coordinator at Marshall 2 years ago. Now he's at Florida. It's a good tune-up for you. It's going into next week against Florida, but they better take care of business today. Look at this run by Butchie Wallace. Nice little footwork there. Excuse me, Earl Charles is in the ballgame. Nice footwork there, and he loses Kevin Simon at the point of attack.
5 receivers for Hill. Comes to the near side. Ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage. It's incomplete. It'll bring up 2nd down. He was trying to get to Josh Davis.
But going back to that point I was making with Florida, it would in the perfect world be a good tune-up game for Tennessee going into conference against Florida, who they will see the exact same offense next week. But they've got their hands full right now against Marshall.
John Chavis is the fine defensive coordinator for Tennessee. Been around a long time. One of the most respected names when it comes to D anywhere in the country.
Been here a long time with Philip Foreman.
2nd and 10 from the 35 of Tennessee. Here comes the blitz. Hill with time, firing, and Watts, yes sir, 3 penalties.
Boy, laundry's coming from everywhere.
Antoine Stewart will be signaled for pass interference against Darius Watts. Things to be thankful for, that you don't find yourself in one-on-one coverage with Darius Watts at any time during this game.
Boy, if you watch the kid, his route running, superb. I mean, the coaches at Marshall, just superb route running.
On the defense, it's a spot foul, automatic 1st down.
That's one where you get press coverage, and as a quarterback, you throw it behind your receiver. You're either going to get pass interference or your receiver's going to make the catch for you. Darius Watts, one of the best in the business at doing it. We call it a fade stop. Let the quarterback fade you, and you stop for the football.
Tennessee making the early mistakes. Bob Pruitt, one of the top coaches in the country. Thundering herd looks strong. 1st down now in Tennessee territory. Hill, lots of time. He'll keep the football. And down at the 17-yard line, it's a pickup of 6. Brandon Johnson, the left cornerback, the sophomore from Tulsa, Oklahoma, came up to make the hit.
I thought maybe Maybe Dan Hill got off Brad Bates a little early, had him to the corner, had a receiver in the middle of the field in this area early. He decides to pull it down, but go ahead and sit in there, go through your reads, your progression, and deliver the football. And get the footwork going, the antsy feet.
2nd and 4 from the 17. And the give is to Wallace. Wallace down at the 10, a late flag at the 17-yard line.
This may be in that area of holding.
After a gain of 8. Yeah, I think it's going to be a hold against Marshall coming back. So that's Marshall's really first big mistake of the ball game so far.
When you get down here and you're on the road in a big football game, you can't make the mistakes that will give you scoring opportunities. You get down here inside the red zone, you got to capitalize.
Bob Pruitt's an interesting guy, the head coach. He was with Steve Spurrier in 94-95. Always puts on a very happy face for the opponent. A very charming guy, charismatic figure, and said earlier in the week, which I think really diffused a lot of fans and maybe even the Tennessee roster, that he thought Tennessee, without a doubt, would win the SEC. He was very serious in his conviction about that.
Yeah, but deep down inside, he was boiling, wanting to come in here and pull the upset of the week.
Don't want to make him angry. 2nd and 14 from the 27. Right. Tennessee showing blitz. Here they come. Hill in trouble. And down goes Hill. Let's go to Matt Weiner in our studio.
Hi, Jeff. Again, an eventful afternoon in East Lansing. Michigan State is back on the board. 21 all game, second quarter. Smoker dumps it off to Jared Hayes. And Hayes is going to take it and do the rest. 28-21, still haven't hit halftime.
I have not lost faith in Rutgers.
A lot of scoring in that ball game early.
3rd and long, 3rd and 20. They need to get to the 13-yard line of Tennessee. Hill, man out there and going down immediately, a wide receiver. It's Jason Schroeder. And Rashad Baker is over there for his 4th tackle. It's a gain of 15. It'll be short of the first down.
Boy, they're getting that 2-deep look, and they are just wearing it out with corner routes. Right here, you see Jason Schroeder right into the corner route, and against high coverage, you got to bring your receiver down flatter towards the sideline. Hold the cornerback with the outside receiver. They're having some success doing it and got him back into field goal range.
Ben Lewis from the Atlanta suburb of Alpharetta, a 34-yard attempt. It is long enough, and it is good. So Ben Lewis hits from 34 yards out, and Marshall back on top of Tennessee. They get some points out of the drive, which was so critical.
Fabulous, fabulous drive.
So Marshall leading Tennessee. We come back to Neyland after this. Well, those Tennessee bourbons will make you do some very strange things.
Well, I tell you, that's too much time on your hands right there.
Judge, I decided to divorce my husband because of this. I submit this visual evidence.
Oh, wow.
10-7. Ian O'Connor getting ready to kick off. He went to Halls High School here in Knoxville. And you wonder if he ever thought at any point in his life he would be in the stadium wearing another uniform.
Other than the volunteer one, I wouldn't think so.
O'Connor stepping into the ball. It is high, and it is short. Taken by Troy Fleming. And Fleming across the 30 down at the 32. That's where the Volunteers will take over. It's a return of 24 yards. Tonight, ESPN and ESPN2 have 2 great college football games for you. At 7:15 Eastern, Florida State will host the Maryland Terrapins on ESPN2. Then at 7:45 Eastern on ESPN, Mike Shula's Crimson Tide welcome Bob Stoops and the #1 ranked Oklahoma Sooners to Bryant-Denny Stadium. College football on ESPN tonight. Stay with us. A lot of great action coming your way. On first down for Casey Clausen. Trying to set up the screen. And he does. Houston with some running room. And Houston up the midfield. A first down for Tennessee. A big play. A pickup of 18 yards. Roberto Terrell brought him down.
Yeah, good job, a good first down call when you have Marshall looking for the run. You set it up and you go screen. Here Casey does a good job with his eyes down the field, allowing Cedric Houston to clear, then deliver the football, and after the catch, fantastic job of running.
On first down from midfield, Clausen 6 of 11, 74 yards, and 1 touchdown pass. With time, far side of the football field, and it is caught by Mark Jones, who makes the grab. Tough throw to make.
It really is, because he's on one hash mark, and he makes the throw to Mark Jones all the way across the field. He's on this side of the field, and he makes that out route, timing out route, just in time, on time, low and outside, where only Mark Jones can make that catch. That shows you the arm strength of Casey Clausen.
Cedric Houston out. Corey Larkins is in. 2nd and 2 from the 42. Here's the draw play. It is Larkins. Penalty marker thrown in the backfield. Looks like maybe a hold, tackled by Willie Smith, but let's wait and see what the referee William Algie has to say about this. It's a hold, and it's going to be coming back.
Yeah, Mark Jones made that last reception, the big reception from Casey Clausen, but last week 31 offensive snaps, 1 reception for 12 yards.
Holding on the offense, penalized 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat, 2nd down.
15 defensive snaps, you see there, 3 tackles, 1 quarterback, quarter QB hurry, and 11 special team snaps, 5 punt returns, Jeff, for 56 yards. He's one of those do-it-all type players.
Aside from being a great athlete, obviously, he's going to be very smart to comprehend the scheme on both sides of the football, including special teams.
Yeah, the coaches love him.
2nd and 11 from the 49. It's a trend you're seeing more of in college football these days, too. You like it?
I like it. I like it.
Here is Clausen across the middle. Too high, and it's picked off. Intercepted. Charles Tynes up with the turnover. Marshall has the ball, and they have excellent field position with 2 minutes left before halftime. An 18-yard return.
And that's more than enough time for this Marshall offense. But Charlie Tynes is way back in coverage. Back here, he's an outside linebacker in coverage, playing like he's a safety or a strong safety. Back pedals, and Casey Clausen a little bit high. The linebacker's dropping deep. He tries to go to James Banks and overshoots him, and Charlie Tynes is the man of the hour, right where he needs to be.
Tynes is always described as a very light linebacker, but sometimes there is an upside to that.
Yeah, absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Give you a couple of different ways to disguise coverage.
1st and 10 from the 49. Plenty of time left for Marshall. On top 10-7 with Tennessee here in Knoxville. Hill dumps it out. And it's Earl Charles, and Charles is brought down after a gain of about 8. We'll call it 2nd and 2.
Well, just a good job there by Stan Hill, looking everybody down the field and then coming underneath to his running back and checking down. And Casey Clausen's not a guy who throws a lot of interceptions. You see 2.7, 4th on the all-time list in terms of percentage for career leaders there. He just doesn't throw a whole lot of interceptions.
They need to get to the 41 for the first down. Shotgun, Hill with time near side, and it is caught. Fine job by Brad Bates, who knew exactly where he was on the field and how he had to keep his feet in bounds. He gets the first down.
Well, he looked like he was ballet dancing along the sideline, just tapping them down, boy, like the NFL, where you got to get 2 feet down to be in. Brad Bates does a fantastic job with the feet.
Swan Lake here at Neyland.
That's right. That's right.
Butchie Wallace now is in. On first down from the 40-yard line. Here comes the blitz. Hill in trouble, and down he goes. Oh, is he hit by Robert Peace from Ruston, Louisiana. Let's go to Reese right now in the studio.
All right, Jeff, coming up on the Pontiac High Performance Halftime Report. Not very happy in Happy Valley these days. Not only have had a couple of teams in the top 25 go down, we had one major one that got a big-time scare, and we'll also give you an update on the Notre Dame-Washington State game.
I'm going to tell you why Notre Dame is struggling against Washington State offensively.
And San Jose State did terrific against San Diego State, terrific against Ohio State, outplayed them in every phase of the game.
Plenty of scores and highlights coming up, and the surprise team in the ACC, guys.
Yeah, Reese, thank you very much. Trev, Mark, how about Wake Forest? No longer a golf power.
Boy, I tell you what, there were a few upsets today around the country. Georgia Tech is actually right now leading against Auburn at halftime. There's more to come.
Did you ever think you would live long enough to see Wake Forest as a team to be dealt with in the ACC?
No, I really did not expect the start that Wake Forest has had. Last week, his first downs allowed. Last week, only 4 by the Tennessee defense. Today, already 11 for this Marshall offense. And boy, if they can stop taking the sacks, you get Stan Hill. Just if you feel the pressure and it gets to be too much, throw it out of bounds. Don't take big sacks like that.
John Chavis talked to us earlier in the week, and he said, look, if we're overlooking Marshall, we're going to get hurt. This is a very athletic football team.
I think they respect Marshall a lot, but there was an air of confidence, not overconfident, but just confidence, because you're at Tennessee and you're at home. You should be confident, but Marshall's come in here and played a fantastic first half thus far.
Second and long, they need to get to the 30-yard line of Tennessee. Here comes the blitz again. Hill in trouble. And down at the 40-yard line, Kevin Simon, his 3rd sack. And 4th sack of the ball game for Tennessee. We're going to see a lot more blitzes, don't you think?
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. Once you start to have success with the blitz and you get a quarterback right here, it's got to be a play call where he gets it out of his hands. He's in the shotgun getting pressure right here. Got to get the football out, or get a play called where you at least get the football out of Stan Hill's hands.
Against Fresno State last week, Tennessee must have blitzed on about every play. And today, at least early, Hill's had plenty of time back there to look left, to look right, and to dump it across the middle, or even to run out of the pocket. So you wonder how that will change in the second half.
I guarantee you, in the second half, when Tennessee comes out in the ball game for the third quarter, they are going to blitz Stan Hill until he makes them pay. So he'll see guys like Kevin Simon and Jason Mitchell all afternoon.
NFL Sunday is coming up tomorrow in a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. The Titans right up the road meet the Oakland Raiders on Sunday Night Football. Both teams, a lot of offense, a lot of passion, a lot of anger. Raiders and Titans Sunday night at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. Available nationwide on ESPN HD. It all starts with NFL Primetime presented by Miller Lite at 7:30 Eastern.
That should be a pretty good ball game. The Raiders.
Jeff Fisher does a great job with the Titans.
See what, the guy I've been impressed with is Steve McNair. I mean, he is just kind of taking the team on his shoulders. The guy plays hurt, just gets the job done.
Really a leader.
He really has become the leader of that football team.
3rd and many zip codes. 3rd and 30. Stan Hill will keep the football and go down at the 41-yard line of Marshall. They'll bring up 4th down.
Well, they've got to do it. They got to talk to Stan Hill. There was absolutely no one around him, and he pulled it down and started to run with the football. Nerves are jumping a little bit. He's getting a little bit jittery. Watch this. Nobody around him right now. He sees the defensive lineman in front of him. He pulls it down. You got to do a better job of standing in the pocket, seeing down the field. Know that you're going to get the pressure. Know that you're going to get hit time after time, but you have to deliver the football. Of course, when it's 3rd and forever, just run the draw. Look at one of those running backs. There aren't a whole lot of plays in the playbook you can call on 3rd and forever and get your first down.
Look at Stan Hill. Tennessee, I think their first goal this season, aside from winning every game they play, is staying healthy. They had 19 starters miss a game last year, and there were so many injuries. It just totally defined their season.
26 surgeries, Philip Fulmer said, from last year.
Rose, the punt, and Baker takes it. He has some room. Tries to turn the corner. He does. And knocked out of bounds along the Tennessee sideline in ball territory. Earl Charles, but there's a penalty marker. And with 26 seconds, let's see what it's all about. A 35-yard punt, 32-yard return.
Well, Rashard Baker was a guy that came to Tennessee as a wide receiver, and John Chavis fought for him, got him to move to free safety, and he's become a good one.
So it goes against Marshall. There's a mistake.
When you're on the road and the game's close, you can't have those penalties go against you.
Dead ball foul, personal foul, late hit, automatic first down.
You know, we saw this last week in Birmingham. We had Alabama and South Florida, where South Florida was dominating in the first half, and they made mistakes inside of a minute left in the second quarter, and it really changed the feel and the complexion of the football game for the third and fourth quarters.
Boy, they call that a personal foul and him getting hit out of bounds. You don't know if he's trying to turn up the field if you're a player, and you're Earl Charles trying to make a tackle. If you let the guy go, maybe he cuts back on you. That's a tough call.
So first down with 26 seconds left in the first half. Clausen play action, deep drop going up top, one-on-one coverage. Out there, touchdown, Tennessee! What a grab by Tony Brown. Will Hoyt with a point after attempt. And Tennessee has the lead with Marshall with 20 seconds left before the half. Boy, you talk about the mistakes. Can't have them. The personal foul kills Marshall. And Brown up top, 27 yards with a quick strike. Tennessee leads. The sunshine of Neyland on a September afternoon. It's a little easier for the Tennessee fans, courtesy of that man's touchdown. As Tony Brown, 27-yard touchdown catch. With pressure on him, he goes up top to make the grab.
It's a well-thrown ball by Casey Clausen as well, and it's becoming the battle of the corner routes between both schools.
Newman getting ready to kick off, and Earl Charles and Chris Royal are deep for Marshall. 20 seconds left in the first half. And it is short, and it goes out of bounds, and Marshall will get the football. Earl Charles over there.
Let's take a look at the touchdown pass again. Casey Clausen comes up. He's going to have Tony Brown come into this area and go back to the corner. And fantastic job with his eyes, play action fake, and goes immediately to it. Tony Brown wide open on the corner, does a good job of going up, catching the football at its highest point. It's what's taught to every receiver when you have to battle for the football. Go up, climb the ladder, catch it at its highest point.
So Marshall has been looking very good in the first half. You go into the locker room down. Let's talk about what kind of impact that may have. Stan Hill takes a knee.
Well, they're not down by much, and if you're Marshall, a couple of plays here and there, and you lead this football game, you give up a big play on a kickoff return, you give one up on a pass play. Otherwise, you go in with a lead at halftime. So I'm sure Bob Pruitt will relay that message to his football team. They got to do a better job of pass protecting for Stan Hill.
So Tennessee leading Marshall 14-10 at halftime. Let's join Reese Davis in the studio for the Pontiac High Performance Halftime Report, along with Trev and Mark. And welcome back to Neyland Stadium, ready for the second half. Tennessee leading Marshall 14-10. Marshall dominating in the first half, but it changed in the final 35 seconds or so. I'm Jeff Hullinger along with Andre Ware. If you're talking about keys in the second half, you have to keep putting pressure on Stan Hill, which is something that Tennessee began to do late in the second quarter.
Well, he's going to see a lot of pressure the second half because simply they've had some success doing so. So if you're Marshall, you try to withstand that. You try to get Stan Hill to stand in the pocket, deliver the football. Maybe you give him some quick throws to get the ball out faster.
And the other issue has been Casey Clausen in the offense. They seem to be finding their way against Marshall's defense, which they really struggled with, but not any longer.
Well, they really have, and he's done a fabulous job of when they crowd the line of scrimmage with 8 and 9 guys in the box, picking the ball up and finding receivers.
So Tennessee will get the ball at their 20-yard line on top, 14-10. The ESPN2 game track looks like this. Marshall with a 96-yard touchdown drive, and it's Jason Rader who makes the catch from Stan Hill.
Tennessee, though, coming back with 4 sacks and a lot of pressure defensively on Stan Hill.
Now then making the most after the personal foul. Quick strike touchdown to Tony Brown of 27 yards, 14-10. That's where we are. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line, and losing the football, but bounding back into his arms for no gain is Cedric Houston.
And boy, the hole was so big behind Anthony Munoz and Anthony Herrera on that left side that his eyes got big. Forgot to take the handoff from Casey Clausen. Boy.
What's your take on Clausen as you think about the second half here?
Well, I thought he managed the end of the second quarter pretty good. A throw early in the first quarter when he threw the interception, but he came back, he bounced back from it, and he's played solid for Tennessee.
2nd and 10, they need to get to the 30. And a big stick put on Cedric Houston by Gladstone Koch, who is 5'9", 195 pounds, but he hit like double of that kind of weight to pick up a 3 at 3rd and 7.
Yeah, can you believe last year in 11 games he saw action as a reserve linebacker and special teams player. He's a starter now for the first time, but he does a fabulous job of getting his pad level lower than the defender or the guy trying to block him, and then making tackles.
Jones to the left, Banks to the right. On 3rd and 7 from the 23. Tennessee is 3 of 7 on 3rd down conversions. Swinging it out of the backfield, it is Houston. Houston has the first down, and across the 35 to the 36. Mariah Anderson, the free safety. It's a gain of 13.
Cedric Houston, fabulous job of open field running to get this first down. Casey Clausen looking down the field and swinging it out here. Watch this move. Back inside. Gladstone Koch there. It was left just kind of reaching for Cedric Houston.
Koch was not it there. 1st and 10 from the 36. Quick drop coming near side, and it's caught, but fine defense by Roberto Terrell on Mark Jones. It's a pickup of 4. And the 5th tackle of the ball game by Terrell.
Yeah, that's one of those gimme throws as a quarterback. When you get to the line of scrimmage, you see one-on-one coverage outside, 3-step drop, and it's out of your hands. The receiver's got to do a better job of getting 6 yards at the most for, at the least for your quarterback, so you wind up in 2nd down and medium, that 2nd and medium range. It's a little easier to call plays from that down and distance.
2nd and 6 from the 40-yard line. Up the middle. Here's Houston. It is a sprint. And Houston is brought down at the 10-yard line by Willie Smith, a pickup of 51 yards.
And this is just what Marshall did not want to have happen. A sign of a good football coach are the adjustments that you make at halftime and you come out for that first drive. Philip Fulmer took his team in and decided we're going to establish the line of scrimmage and run the football with Cedric Houston. You're going to get it to him out in the flat on the pass play. Here, just a run, a little stretch play on the right side. He cuts it back. A little stiff arm there. Tennessee showing you what they can do when they run the football.
1st and goal from the 10-yard line. It's Houston again. And Houston trying to plow ahead. He gets to about the 6th pickup of 4. And Martin is there on the stop. Now you start wondering about the weight difference in this ball game.
And that's
Tennessee's line averages at 300 pounds, 265 for Marshall.
Yeah, that weight difference, we mentioned it early, and now Tennessee wants to, I mentioned it, just establish the line of scrimmage. 305 pounds against 260. Sooner or later, and late in the ball game, that starts to take its toll when those big bodies are leaning on you all game long.
Two tight ends for Tennessee on 2nd and goal from the 6. And a handoff. Houston inside the 5, stretching out to the 2. It's a gain of 3. Mariah Anderson is there to bring Houston down.
Yeah, it's kind of like you equate it to a heavyweight fight. Two big guys standing in the middle of the ring, and they're just going to throw. And Tennessee just right now decided, I'm going to hit you in the mouth, and I'm going to see if you can sit there and you can take it and hit me back. Right now, they're getting the better end of this exchange.
Well, everybody on their feet. 100,000 plus in Neyland Stadium. 3rd and goal from the 2. They'll keep it on the ground. Leaping into the end zone, Jabari Davis. Touchdown, Volunteers.
Boy, that's a shot to the old ego when you can take one and go right down the field. Jabari Davis just gets up, shows you a little leaping ability around the goal line. He's a good short yardage runner. Scored a touchdown last week against Fresno State. It's important for Marshall to respond to this drive and get some points some way, shape, or form.
Willoyd, the point after attempt is good. And Tennessee stretching out on Marshall. Jabari Davis from Stone Mountain, Georgia, Atlanta Metro. Leaping, leaning, in for 6, all Tennessee. A lot of celebration here at Neyland Stadium, built in the 1920s. It's morphed into one of the biggest stadiums you will ever see anywhere. And now the orange-clad fans are on their feet here. A lot to celebrate.
Yeah, and that's just what Marshall did not need, is to get this crowd involved in this football game. But one way to quiet them is you take this drive and get some type of points. Get yourself back in this football game.
Newman's kick out of the end zone. Marshall gets it at the 20. Let's go to Matt Weiner in our studio right now. Matt.
Hi, Jeff. Oregon at home. Team Lemon Lime taking on Nevada today. Wolfpack backed up to their own goal line, and Andy Heiser is picked off by Keith Lewis, who can stroll in. Ducks now up by 17 late in the 3rd. Meanwhile, Notre Dame has taken over the game with Washington State. Julius Jones has just had a touchdown run. They now lead it by 4.
Life without Mike Price at Washington State for the first time in many, many years. So for Marshall, 1st and 10 from the 20. Now trailing by 11. And they will keep it on the ground. Butchie Wallace picks up 4. Tackled by Antoine Stewart. It'll bring up 2nd and 6.
Well, Coach Bob Pruitt and his staff at halftime went in. They try to make some adjustments. They've got to do a better job of getting Stan Hill some quick reads. They got a lot of guys around the line of scrimmage. You got man-to-man on the outside. Maybe pop a draw, a couple of quick screens. Get some positive things happening for Stan Hill in this offense.
On 2nd down. Penalty marker goes flying as Butchie Wallace is hit behind the line of scrimmage by Rashad Baker, the free safety who came up, showed you his great pursuit, great speed, and Marshall.
Just when you see what they have to do, what they need not do is come up with holding penalties when you're down inside your 20-yard line and back you up even further and create those long yardage situations that drive offensive coordinators crazy.
On the offense, penalized 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat 2nd down.
You know, Jeff, if they don't do anything, if they don't get Tennessee off them, it's going to be like bees on honey, because they're going to keep coming, a bunch of guys around the line of scrimmage, pressure from everywhere. So you got to find a way to get Stan Hill freed up, get the ball out to Darius Watts, go ahead and get Josh Davis involved in this thing, and maybe a screen or two to Earl Charles or Franklin Wallace, Butchie Wallace. Maybe some positive plays here.
A lot of noise in the stadium on 2nd and long from the 14. And Hill quiets the crowd with the completion near side. Penalty marker goes flying as Josh Davis brings it in. Maybe a face mask against Rashad Baker.
Yeah, for Josh Davis, he's going to have that one-on-one coverage. They're trying to bring Kevin Burnett off the corner. certain situations, as well as Kevin Simon. And so they're going to have that one-on-one coverage on the slot and the outside receivers. I like that matchup if I'm Marshall.
5-yard penalty on the defense. Repeat, second down.
Here's a look at it. Stan Hill's going to get pressure from Kevin Barnett on the outside, and Josh Davis does a good job, little out route, pressuring the guy inside and then breaking back. And here's the face mask that comes. A little stiff arm one too, but you can throw 2 flags on that one.
So Marshall trying to get something going offensively, trailing 21-10 with Tennessee. Earl Charles in for Butchie Wallace. And it is Charles who gets the call, and he runs into a whole host of orange shirts. Robert Peace, the senior from Ruston, Louisiana, who told us yesterday the thought of not playing football at Tennessee next year is something that's just beginning to hit him as a senior, and he wants to savor every moment here.
Yeah, he's a senior, and he's around the line of scrimmage. They've got a bunch of guys in the box, 8 guys, and there's Marshall still trying to run the football against that defense, and it's going to be a tough go of it. They continue to try to do that with 8 guys in the box.
So 3rd down for Marshall. They need to get to the 30-yard line. Hill with time. Man out there, a fine grab and a penalty marker, though, in the backfield as Darius Watts makes the grab. And let's see what the penalty is all about. Roughing the passer that'll go against Tennessee. Let's go to Matt Weiner now. Matt?
Hi, Jeff. Gary Barnett worried about this UCLA team coming into Boulder today. Carl Durrell's bunch down by 3, but Drew Olson, the backup for Matt Moore, has now thrown 2 touchdown passes. This one to Mercedes Lewis makes it 14-10.
From the end of the run, automatic first down.
So a first down after the penalty here.
Here's a look. We said we had to get it, that Stan Hill had to get the ball out to Darius Watts. There, just a late hit is going to add on to it. Does a good job of standing in there, and that's what he's got to do. He's got to stand in the pocket and be willing to accept those hits and still deliver the football for completions down the field to those talented receivers.
Is that the hardest thing about being a quarterback?
It is. You got to have some true grit to stand in there and know you're going to get hit in your mouth.
Here's first down, and Marshall on the ground. It's Earl Charles bouncing off Tennessee tacklers and knocked out of bounds along the sideline of Marshall. It's a gain of 10. Konstantin Ritzman is there out of Berlin.
Yeah, this block by Nate McPeak. He's your guy. Big seal block right there at the point of attack allows Earl Charles to get outside for positive yards. That's what made the play, was the block of Nate McPeak. Big All-American, Lombardi Award candidate. He is going to be a fine pro.
41st consecutive start as a line.
A lot of games.
Man. First down from the 39 of the Tennessee Volunteers. And to give straight ahead is Butchie Wallace to the right tackle. He picks up 2. Robert Peace is there for his 3rd tackle. Watching Konstantin Ritzman and his great pursuit that we have seen all afternoon long. He was discovered by NFL Europe.
Yeah.
And he was playing club football in Berlin against a bunch of 35 and 40-year-old guys.
Yeah, and standing out doing it against much older guys, much older competition. Somebody called the University of Tennessee. They recruited him, got him in here, and he's just been the blitz man off the corner. Just had to keep him healthy. He's had a troubled history with injuries, but this year he's healthy and doing a fabulous job early in the season.
5 receivers for Hill. Out of the pocket, firing on the run, and overshoots his target, but a late penalty.
He may get holding in the secondary on Kevin Barnett.
Jason Rader was the target, the tight end. So it's Tennessee making the mistakes now here in the 3rd quarter. Dickerson with a lot of pressure on Stan Hill.
Yeah, Stan Hill here seeing little signals. When it gets noisy, you have to be able to communicate with your receivers. Little gesture there to the outside receiver, and Stan Hill trying to communicate outside with those guys, make sure they run the proper routes and they get on the same page. He's seeing something that the defense is giving him, trying to alert his receivers.
So Tennessee now has 9 penalties, 79 yards in total. And it's a first down for Marshall. Hill being chased, in trouble, thrown to the turf sack. 5th sack of Hill today. And Kevin Burnett, the outside linebacker, caught it.
I felt like Stan Hill could have thrown this football. And I'll tell you why. Right here, he goes play action pass, and you got Burnett on the outside right here. He's going to close down right in here. But after the fake, right now, the ball's got to come out because he's got a receiver in this area of the field. Sometimes when you feel that pressure, you can't buckle under. You still got to deliver the football. We talked about it, Jeff. You still got to get it off knowing that you're going to get hit.
How do you deal with that kind of blitzing with the linebackers and that speed?
Well, he had a guy right now. It's designed where a guy comes down, crashes the end of the line of scrimmage, and gets to the flat. Once you come off the fake, you got to be ready to deliver the football.
2nd and 20 for Hill. Across the middle, Rader makes the catch, and he is double tackled, triple tackled. Kevin Simon leading the way. It's a gain of 6. And that'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, I guarantee you when Stan Hill comes to the sideline, Larry Cack, the offensive coordinator, that's going to be the first thing he says. Look, when you come off the fake and you know you're getting pressure because you see the guy lined up on the end of the line of scrimmage, you know he's coming. Get off the fake a little earlier, get your shoulders around, see the route in the flat, and be ready to deliver the football.
Senior from Albans, West Virginia, started at Georgia. Jim Donnan, the Marshall coach and Georgia coach. Trying to set up the screen. Hill on the run. And just throws the ball out of bounds into the hedges. I don't know if they will be able to find that ball or not.
The crowd wants a grounding penalty, but he's well outside and had a receiver actually in the area, Darius Watts. So now you don't want to lose any yardage here because you take your field goal kicker out of field goal range.
Really see so much depth. I mean, there was Jason Mitchell who was chasing him. I mean, they have so many linebackers that can step up and absolutely fly after you.
Roughing the passer on the defense. Penalize half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Well, another penalty.
That's a big break for the Marshall offense here. Stan Hill's going to get pressure from the outside. He's going to escape wide, and he's looking down the field. Look at the coverage in this area. Not any room to get the ball to Darius Watts. Does a smart thing in getting rid of the football, but takes a late hit on the sideline. Keeps this drive alive for Marshall.
Tennessee has taken 50 penalty yards on this drive. And now Marshall with a first down.
He's got man-to-man up top with Darius Watts.
Going up top, here he is. Watts trying to make the grab. He does. Touchdown, Marshall. Working on Jabari Greer, a 13-yard touchdown. You called it.
Well, he had it. He got so many guys in the box. They're trying to protect against the run as well as disguise their blitz package. And you get this guy one-on-one with anybody in America, and I'm going to bet on him. He is a talented receiver. You talk about guys around the country, the Reggie Williams out at Washington and Mike Williams at USC and Roy Williams down in Texas. A lot of Williams in receiver. But he is one of the more talented guys in terms of what he does after the catch and getting himself open. Man, I like this kid.
Ben Lewis, the point after attempt. And here comes Marshall. The reaction from quarterback Stan Hill as he makes the pass to Darius Watts for 6. A lot of green here at Neyland Stadium, and now showing their thundering herd pride after the Darius Watts touchdown. And this is the scoring drive of merit for Marshall, but 50 of those yards were penalty yards.
You know, this is absolutely big right there for Marshall. 50 yards in penalties on an 80-yard drive. That is huge to keep the drive alive, but it is exactly what Marshall needed. The shot in the arm they needed to keep themselves in this football game.
Ian O'Connor out of Halls High School here in Knoxville. He buries it deep and Tennessee will take over at the 20-yard line. Corey Larkins watches it sail over his head. Let's go to Matt Weiner in our studio right now.
All right, Jeff, let's get you updated on Washington and Indiana. Washington losing to Ohio State last week, trying not to lose to another Big Ten team. Cody Pickett to Reggie Williams over the middle, head right into the end zone, 70 yards on the touchdown, and UW now up 17-13. Meanwhile, look out for the MAC. Bowling Green, a big win earlier today at Purdue, and Akron trailing Wisconsin by just 3. The Zips were down by 14 on 2 different occasions during this game.
MAC football is tough these days.
You're absolutely right.
I did the MAC championship last year with Toledo, and that's who Marshall will face next week. On first down, coming to the near side, Troy Fleming with some running room, and he has run out of bounds along the Marshall sideline. A gain of 17, a first down, tackled by J.T. Rembert.
Yeah, good job there with Casey Carson in the play fake and getting the ball out too for Fleming. Look at here, this is Darius Watch, 54 receptions, over 3,000 yards for his career. The active NCAA wide receiver league. That's a big number right there. 39 touchdown passes. Man, the kid can play. Don't get tired yet. You got a lot of football left.
First down from the 37-yard line. And on the handoff, in trouble is Houston, and brought down behind the line of scrimmage. A great job for Marshall by Charles Tynes, his 3rd tackle of the game, but he came blasting through.
Yeah, he had a big interception early in the first half, and now he's right around the line of scrimmage, back at his right outside linebacker position, and fights off a block. A little counter play with the fullback leading. Charlie Tynes just right underneath the blocks. Unaccounted for. Good tackle. Just the way coaches want to see it. Wrap up and drive your legs.
He's also got an interception in this ball game. It's a loss of 6. 2nd and 16 from the 31. They need to get to the 47-yard line of Tennessee. Swinging it out of the backfield to Houston. And Houston lowering his shoulder and then taken out of bounds. Fans want a late hit. Let's see if we see a flag. Nothing. Phil Fulmer thinks that was a late hit too. A gain of 5. In a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game, the Tennessee Titans right down the road meet the Oakland Raiders on Sunday Night Football. Raiders and Titans Sunday night at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN, available nationwide on ESPN HD. It all starts with NFL Primetime, brought to you by Miller Lite at 7:30 Eastern. The NFL gears up tomorrow. So 3rd down for Clausen and the Vol offense. 4 wide receivers. Marshall is showing blitz. And that may have confused Clausen as he was seeing the linebackers getting ready to come crashing through.
Yeah, he didn't have the proper protection there and did a good job of calling timeout.
Tennessee with a 3rd down when we come back. They lead Marshall by 4. Southern girls holding up their own banners here. Underwear.
Little sorority row there.
3rd down for Tennessee. And the ball at the 37-yard line. The 4 and 9 on 3rd down conversions. Clausen out of the shotgun with 4 wide receivers.
A chess match going on.
With plenty of time. Firing, and it is caught. The catch made by Jason Swain. It's a gain of 14. Mariah Anderson is there.
We talked about the talented young wide receivers for Tennessee, and Casey Clausen saying whoever plays quarterback here next year is going to have some talented guys to throw to. That's one of them. Jason Swain, a deep in route. Casey Clausen looking coverage off. He's going to come into this area of the field on an in route at about 15 yards, just enough to get the first down. Heads up play for a true freshman to get the first down yardage.
Clausen with plenty of time. Now Marshall jumping off sides. Question was, were they pulled? Penalties against Tennessee. They have 10 of them. Let's see what this is.
The snap. Defense. Offside. With contact. 5 yards. Still first down.
5th penalty against Marshall for 45 yards.
Yeah, and you know, you had the 50 yards and penalties on the drive before for Marshall. Now it seems like you're giving that yardage right back to Tennessee. had him in a 3rd down and long situation. Here, total yards by the half. Marshall -7 in the second half. 26 for Tennessee in this half. Boy, that's big.
And only down 4 points to the Vols. On 1st and 5 from Marshall territory. Clausen, plenty of time again. Going long, man out there. And oh no! Mark Jones had a run at 6. He might be thinking about that. Roberto Terrell was out there. But if that ball is caught, it's goodbye.
Well, I looked at Casey Clausen, was here a year ago, and watched him. His body was a little smaller than it is now. He's bulked up a little bit, and with that bulk has come more arm strength. And he shoots this ball in between the safety and the corner on a line. Mark Jones wishing he had that one back.
2nd and 5. And a handoff. Houston turning the corner. Now the speed. Leaping into the end zone.
They're going to say he was out of bounds around the 9-yard line.
But he steps out. You're absolutely right. Roberto Terrell is there for Marshall. But what an effort by Cedric Houston. You really get an idea of his great speed. Once he turns the corner, he just blows by everybody in a green uniform.
Boy, we talked about him being just a huge back, big physical runner with great vision and speed and acceleration. Gets to the corner, and then it is north and south. Watch this. He gets to the outside, turns up the field, and it is hard for defensive backs to run him down. He's so fast.
It is his 39th, his 7th career 100-yard game with a 39-yard run. You see the numbers.
Well, I talked with Randy Sanders, the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Volunteers, and I said, you know, you've had James Stewart come through. You've had Jamal Lewis, Travis Henry, Travis Stevens. I said, you know, who does he remind you of? He says, he reminds me of the big guy, James Stewart, that's playing with the Detroit Lions right now. Big, tough guy.
We'll take a break. Tennessee leading Marshall. They are on the move. 1st and goal from the 9-yard line for Tennessee. They lead Marshall 21-17 here late in the 3rd quarter. And they keep it on the ground. This is Houston trying to turn to the outside, but he is wrapped up by Charles Tynes. It's a gain of 3. So 161 yards last week for Cedric Houston. Now around 136. As a former Heisman Trophy winner, I think you recognize a candidate when you see one.
I think, you know what, he wasn't to start the season, but now he's ultimately becoming one. He's thrown his name on the radar screen, that's for sure. Marshall doing a good job of rallying to the football. Trying to strip it out right there was Charlie Tynes.
8th play of the drive. 2nd and goal from the 6. Here's Houston inside the 5, down to the 3. It's Tynes again on the tackle. Here's Matt Weiner in our studio.
All right, Jeff, Bill Doba's Washington State Cougars have made things very interesting in his hometown, tying it up at 26. Matt Kegel to Sammy Moore with a one-handed catch, and we could be headed to overtime.
Wow, how about that score?
Get our first overtime game.
3rd and goal from the 3-yard line. Jonathan Wade is split to the right side. Clausen wants to throw. Man out there. Touchdown, Tennessee. Troy Fleming.
There's the difference in experience right there when you talk about Casey Clausen. You compare him to Stan Hill. He comes off the play fake, ready to deliver the football to Troy Fleming. Fantastic call down around the goal line. Watch him right off the play fake. Here he's going to come off the play fake and then right around and gets his head around to the other way and right out of the, he feels the pressure and the ball's up and ready to deliver it.
James Wilhoit, the point after attempt is good. So Tennessee answers Marshall here late in the 3rd quarter. They can get 28-17.
Well, Troy Fleming's an interesting story. They had a hard time convincing him to play fullback. He wanted to be the tailback. He got into it with the coaches, and I don't want to play fullback. I don't want to block. I want to carry the mail. So he's finally entrenched as the fullback on this team and doing a fabulous job of lead blocking for Cedric Houston. But look at this play fake, sell it, and right now he's getting pressure here.
presence in mind to get the ball up, and it's ready to come out. Whereas we saw a play before with Stan Hill, he took a sack, not being ready to throw the football.
Well, there's so much talent on that Tennessee roster.
Yes.
I mean, one of the toughest jobs in the state has to be as a coach trying to figure out, well, what are you going to do with this guy who was an All-American high school player? What could he do for us, even though he doesn't want to play this position?
You look down their roster, there are parade All-Americans, super prep All-Americans, all the way down their roster. And I don't know how they keep everybody happy, to be quite honest, but they do a fine job of recruiting not only the couple of guys they get from the state of Tennessee, but all around the country. Louisiana, California, Arkansas, everywhere around the country, they go get them.
You look at all those Tennessee names in the NFL that will be playing tomorrow, and you get a sense of what this program's all about. Earl Charles downs the football. Marshall takes over at the 20-yard line, now trailing 28-17. Tonight, ESPN and ESPN2 have a couple of great college football games. 7:15 Eastern, it's Florida State hosting the Maryland Terrapins on ESPN2. Then it's 7:45 Eastern on ESPN. It's the Crimson Tide and the Oklahoma Sooners at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. College football on ESPN. Every game is a must-win. You like Alabama with Oklahoma? We had the roll Tide last week.
You know what? They rolled in the second half, that's for sure. They found an identity on offense and able to run the football in the second half, wear down South Florida. They can do that against Oklahoma. They're going to have a chance because they have a talented defense.
5 wide receivers for Stan Hill on first down. Plenty of time. Dumps it. And it is caught by Darius Watts. And he is taken out of bounds along the Marshall sideline. A gain of 11. That's the first down. Antoine Stewart is there to make the hit on Darius Watts.
Well, this is a fabulous job by a good wide receiver. Recognizing zone coverage. I'm going to sit it down right here for my quarterback, turn my numbers to him, give him a big target, and then get yards after the catch. What a fantastic job. They run 2 crossers. He recognizes the zone coverage. Don't keep running, because if the quarterback leads you, he's going to give him I'm going to get my head taken off. I'll sit down, show him my numbers. Boy, good. That's a fine football player right there.
It's like he's hurting a bit. First down from the 30. And they will keep it on the ground. Banging ahead is Earl Charles. Hits a pickup of 5. It'll bring up 2nd and 5. Kevin Burnett is there.
Yeah, I like Earl Charles. And I'll tell you what, when he's in the game, he carries the football. I know they got to share the reps, but at this point, you're down. You get a running back who's hot. He's got the hot hand right now. He's got the feel, and whatever it is that a running back feels when he's in there. I hadn't had that feeling. I had the one Stan Hills had, being on my back a few times. But go with the guy with the hot hand right now.
And the guy with the hot hand is met at the line of scrimmage and pushed back by Robert Peace. No gain. Bring up 3rd and 5.
Yeah, was still getting positive yards. When he gets the ball, he's such a load at 6'1", 215. And I ask him, you go down the roster, every running back on the team's about 6 foot, and they're somewhere around 210, 215. And it's because when you go to Marshall and you're going to play running back there, you have to be able to block. You have to be able to catch the football and run. So you got to have a guy with size that can do it all. Earl Charles is a guy that can do it all at Marshall.
3rd and 5. They need to get to the 40. Here comes the blitz. Hill gets rid of it. First down and more. Look at this. It's Josh Davis in a sprint along the far sideline. Touchdown, Marshall. A 65-yard touchdown to Josh Davis, and a penalty marker inside the 5.
You know what? I referred to this as being a heavyweight fight. It's more like the ultimate fighting. They're just standing here with bare knuckles and going at each other. Wow.
Unsportsmanlike conduct going against Tennessee.
Man, there's that 1-2 punch. You see Darius Watts on a couple of plays before, and then you get Josh Davis. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, this is the best duo in the entire country. Those 2 young men, Watts and Davis, and you're going to hear a lot about them this football season.
The touchdown is good. After the score, we have a dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct foul on the scoring team. That penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
There's the dynamic duo, and something to take note of. Tennessee not putting a lot of pressure on Stan Hill right now. Again, they're giving him time back there to pick and choose, and if that happens, look out.
You know what? He's seeing some pressure. They've made some adjustments at halftime to pick up those blitzes. They've gotten to the point now where they recognize the one-on-one coverage, and Stan Hill is delivering the football, sitting in there, taking some licks to deliver.
Ben Lewis, the point after attempt for the Thundering Herd, and they are thundering right now behind Josh Davis and cut into that Tennessee lead with 1:19 left here in the third quarter.
Now watch this play here. You get Josh Davis out in the flat, and this is all Josh Davis. Right down the field, picks up a couple of good blocks. Now he's got Rashard Baker, and I got to outrun this guy. I didn't know he had this much speed. Wow, just a little celebration, a little early. That's where the penalty came in. But watch Stan Hill, kind of chest bumping. He's happy, fired up. My guy's just taking it to the house for me. I'm on chest bumping. Uh-oh. You know, my knee's my knee's not totally healthy yet. I wouldn't advise Stan to, don't go chest bumping on a bad leg.
Well, what is it about bad legs and Marshall quarterbacks? I think about Byron Leftwich last year and limping around. I hope the offensive linemen don't have to carry Stan Hill to the play.
You know what? Stan Hill is gritty enough that I guarantee you're going to have to pull him off the field for this one, because this is going to be a fantastic finish. Do not leave us whatsoever.
I have a feeling Byron Leftwich is watching right now. It must feel a little strange to see his Marshall teammates.
Yeah, he said he talked to Byron Leftwich earlier this week and a couple of days ago, and they talked game plan, and it's just an amazing story how those quarterbacks stay in contact with one another.
Ian O'Connor kicking off, and it's high and it is short, taken by Corey Larkins. And Marshall's special teams a pretty good job bringing him down at the 32-yard line. It's a return of 18 yards, and on the tackle is Chris Royal for Marshall. Larkins losing his shoe.
Well, you see the dynamic duo here. Look at this number right in here. 85 yards, 90 yards, touchdown here, touchdown here. Man, last week, 7 catches apiece. They're right around the same. Get Davis a few more, but it's not enough football to keep those two happy, but they're ultimate teammates. Play together, work together, do a fine job of clearing out routes for one another.
First down for Tennessee. Play action. Lawson, and too tall, overshoots his intended target. It was well covered along the sideline. Mark Jones.
This is a game that could come down to who has the last possession. Is it Tennessee or is it Marshall? Because they seem to keep going right at one another. The defenses we talked about in the top of the game, that they're going to be tested on both sides of the football. Man, it's whoever's got the ball last in this one.
Well, it really looked like Tennessee was beginning to pull away. I mean, the football game really had that kind of feel about it. They were leading 21-10 here in the third, but Marshall has come back. And here is the give. It is to Jabari Davis, and Davis slamming up the middle. Gladstone Coke is there along with Charles Tynes. It's a gain of 5. We're inside a minute left here in the third quarter.
And you had to know that it wouldn't take Tennessee long to get back to what they do best, and that's run the football. They're going to come right at Marshall. They moved a guy, Victor McClure, who was a tight end, an offensive lineman for a while, long time. He's now a tight end. He goes 6'4", 290. You think they want to run the football?
No thanks. 3rd and 5, 4 wideouts for Casey Clausen from the shotgun formation. And it is caught by James Banks, and Banks picks up 7. That's enough for the first down. Tynes on the tackle number 7 for it.
You see time and time again Casey Clausen to James Banks on 3rd down. Now all of a sudden he's got a guy that he can depend on. He knows where he is on the field. He's going to continue to get better throughout the season for Casey Clausen. You're going to hear a lot about James Banks as well. A lot of good, talented young wide receivers spread around the country this year.
Absolutely. And that is the end of the third quarter. Tennessee struggling with Marshall 28-24. Troy Fleming
with the catch in the third quarter, but answered by Josh Davis. 65 yards for 6. Tennessee leads Marshall. We are ready for the fourth quarter here at Neyland Stadium. Over 106,000 on hand. Stan Hill on the headsets, feeling the effects of a chest bump.
Yeah, reminds you of Bill Gramatica, the Cardinals are Gus Frerotte running into the goalpost. Wow.
Too much testosterone. On 1st and 10, Clausen up top, one-on-one coverage, and it is caught. James Banks brings the ball down, a gain of 15, working on Willie Smith, but a fine job by Banks, the sophomore out of Indianapolis, Indiana.
Here, James Banks, one-on-one outside, and this is what we call the face stop. The defender's up top. You throw the football behind him and allow him to go up and get it. Either your receiver's going to catch it or somehow it's pass interference, but it's a very effective play in man-to-man press coverage.
Play action, Clausen, plenty of time, man out there, and it is caught. Touchdown, Jason Swain, the freshman.
They're saying he dropped it, Jeff.
Wow.
Wow, he came wide open, basically double covered. Ball he must have been juggling it a little bit. Fine throw over the top. Just enough air under the football to allow the receiver to make the adjustment. Never really had control. Good call by the officials.
Wow. Another look at it.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, they don't like it here.
It's not. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's out right there. So he never really had control of the football. I think it's a good call.
2nd and 10. On the ground. Houston dancing and finding some yardage. A pickup of 5 down at the 35. Let's go to Matt Winder at our studio. Matt?
Jeff, drama in South Bend. Washington State, Notre Dame go to overtime. Cougars get the ball first, turn it over to their kicker, Drew Dunning, but he's wide left from 34 yards. So Irish get the next possession. A 44-yarder. Nick Setta hooked it and got it through. Irish survived 29-26.
What a great football game. 3rd down for Tennessee, 7-12 on 3rd down conversions. Clausen coming near side. It is caught by Mark Jones. And Jones picks up 5. That should be enough for a Tennessee first down.
Tell you what, Gladstone Coke does a good job of rallying to the football. And then when he gets there, he shows up. He's a little nasty about it when he gets there. Screen play. Well-thrown ball, just a little play fake, and boom, get it out of my hands, give my receiver time to make an adjustment and get up the football field. You don't want to dance, only a short yards to a first down, get up the field, get positive yards. Good job by Mark Jones.
Wade comes to the left, Banks goes to the right. On 1st down from the 29-yard line. Play action for Clausen. Lots of time. And now just throwing the ball out of bounds. Nobody over there. A lot of pressure coming from Jonathan Goddard.
Yeah, but that's from playing in a lot of football games right there. You feel a little pressure, step up and outside, escape the pocket, and then you feel more pressure. No one's open. Let me get it in the stands, throw it out of bounds, and come back and fight on 2nd down. Philip Fulmer, he looks like he's feeling a little pressure himself from this Marshall team. They just won't go away.
On 2nd down. And nothing there. Good job by the Marshall defense. Kevin Atkins is there on Cedric Houston. And he has a lot of help from some of his friends.
We start thinking about field goal range, and Vince Wilhoit is a parade All-American out of high school and hit a 57-yarder this spring. No room here for Cedric Houston. A lot of guys around the line of scrimmage for Marshall. Good job of tackling as a football team.
Look at our coaches. And 3rd and 11. Clausen firing and almost intercepted, almost picked off at the 22-yard line by Chris Royal. I tell you, he had a chance of coming up with the football as the target was James Banks for Clausen, and it'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, Chris Royals, the area outside defender in this area to the left of your screen. And Casey Clausen's got to take him further out wide. Out wide, he's going to run a curl route here. You got to look the defender out that way. He does a good job of getting back into the area inside the curl to flat route, curl to flat area, and playing the football in the eyes of Casey Clausen.
Will Hoyt, a 47-yard attempt. It is high and it is short, plus it is wide to the right. So some of the Boo Birds come out here at Neyland Stadium. Tennessee doesn't get any points, and that's a victory for Marshall here.
You can't boo college kids, can you?
Tennessee leads Marshall. We're in the fourth quarter. They're up by 4. Back at Neyland Stadium, where Hill is hurting right now, and we're going to see a change of quarterbacks. Graham Goetner will be running the Marshall offense. He's the junior college transfer out of Highland Village, Texas.
Hasn't had a whole lot of playing time through his first pass last week. Completed it for 3 yards against Hofstra. It's on his shoulders right now.
And his number is tattooed on his right arm. Showing blitzer Tennessee. Here they come. And coming to the near side is Watts. And Watts scampering and finding a little bit of room. A nice job, a pickup of 16 and a first down. Jabari Greer, the left cornerback, makes the stop. The ESPN2 game track. Andre, we came in here talking about Cedric Houston.
Yeah, we did, and he showed up in a big way, 140 yards rushing thus far in the game. But the other two guys on the other side had a little bit to say as well. Davis and Watts, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns between the two of them.
Well, those 3 guys have been awesome this afternoon.
Boy, they have stood out, haven't they?
First down from the 46. Graham Goetner is the quarterback for Stan Hill, the injured one. Here's the handoff over the left tackle. And trying to find some room is Butchie Wallace. Robert Peace is there after a gain of 3. 2nd and 7.
They're just going to try to move the football on the ground a little bit with Goetner at the helm. Try to give Stan Hill a little more time over there. They're still working on him, trying to find the right wrap job on that knee. See if they can find him some comfort, get it snug for him, and get him back into this ball game.
2nd down for Goetner. Here comes the pressure. Firing, and it's complete to Watts, who's brought down immediately. A fine defensive job by Rashad Baker. It's a loss of 3. They'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, Toby Bullock trying to pull on the screen out to Darius Watts, and is still trying to screen and get the ball out fast. Here Goetner's going to take it out of the gun, little play fake, and get rid of the football. Here you see the lineman trying to pull out, but Rashad Baker gets to the receiver before the block gets there and blows the play up.
Marshall serving notice to the MAC Conference that they are ready to defend their title in 2003.
That's right.
3rd and 11. They're 6 of 12 on 3rd down conversions this afternoon. But that was with Stan Hill. This is with Graham Goetner from the shotgun. With time and overshoots Darius Watts, penalty marker at the 40-yard line in holding territory.
And that's what it was. I thought Goetner did a good job of standing in the pocket, delivering just a little bit off the mark. Not quite warm yet. Coming into a pretty big football game.
Holding on the offense. The penalty is declined. 4th down.
It was Jason Hall, the right end, who was coming across in a hurry after Goetner. He's the sophomore out of Marietta, Georgia. And Rose will punt. Punt number 6 of the afternoon. Now this is a floating spiral taken by Baker. And Baker runs into his own man at the 21-yard line. A 42-yard punt, 8-yard return. Let's go to Matt Weiner in our studio.
All right, Jeff, Washington achieving a little separation against Indiana after what was a tight game early on. Cody Pickett, nice timing route to Reggie Williams, who goes up and gets it. Huskies pulling away 38-13. Wisconsin put away Akron. The Zips were game but fall by 17, 48-31. Jim Sorgi, 2 touchdown passes.
Sorgi's fine quarterback.
He really is. Really is a good quarterback. I like Cody Pickett as well at Washington. After a rough start last week, but he bounced back today, or is bouncing back.
First down for Tennessee. It's Tony Brown in motion. And here is Cedric Houston, and he is met by the interior of the Marshall line. And Willie Smith also coming up to make the stop. Clock running at 10:34 left in the ball game.
Or if you can have any success in your Tennessee running the football, that's what you want to do at this point in the game. Marshall's a little too close for comfort. I got a chance to move the football as well as chew some of this clock. So that's what you'll see Tennessee do here. They're going to protect the football on this end of the field. Go to those big guys, Cedric Houston and Jabari Davis.
Second and 8. Clausen, quick throw. And it is caught by Jonathan Wade, who was run out of bounds by Roberto Terrell. Pickup of 4.
Like Jonathan Wade hit wrong. Good job there, just coming, working back the screen, allowing the offensive lineman to get out there. Didn't quite get out in front of him. It's Cody Douglas. Kid out of Lamarck High School, down there from where I'm from, 6 miles from Dickinson.
Well, it's been a good day for Houston here in this stadium in the form of Cedric, but not so at Michigan today for your alma mater.
Yeah, they took that's a big chore to go on the road in the big house, start a true freshman at quarterback. And they played well in that ball game early, just got out of hand for them.
Defense, 5-yard penalty. That's enough for a first down.
So a good break for Tennessee. They get the first down courtesy of the penalty as Hayes jumping offsides.
Talked a little bit about Cody Douglas. He's a guy that comes from a pretty good program down there at Lamarck High School. They just churn out athlete after athlete. I was talking with Philip Fulmer. Says he may be our second best offensive lineman behind Anthony Munoz.
Saying something. First and 10 from the 33. Mark Jones in motion. And here's Houston. And brought down at the 45-yard line by Roberto Terrell. A gain of 12 and up for a first down for the ball.
Well, the guy just doesn't seem to get tired. I watched that on film all week where he just gassed Fresno State, and he comes into this one just following the blocks of his offensive lineman, Cody Douglas, right on cue, pulls around and creates a huge hole, kicks out. Cedric Houston pulls in behind him, up and inside. He has found a rhythm running the football.
Tell you what, Terrell doesn't make that tackle, and it goes for a lot more. First down from the 45. Houston again. And turning the corner, but a penalty marker at the 41-yard line. Mariah Anderson makes the tackle on Cedric Houston. Pick up the 13, but this is going to be a hold that will go against the Vols.
Yeah, and you like the nasty in Cedric Houston. Even at the end of this run, he's trying to deliver the punishment. And the kid's got to be tired, but I think the hold's on Fleming, the fullback. Oh, boy, he's trying to deliver the lick.
Holding on the offense. 10 yards, previous spot.
A little holding on the fullback there. And outside goes Cedric Houston. Little stiff arm, strong back. And boom, you take it. I'm not going to take the lick. You take it. Boy, that is being in shape when you can still deliver licks like that in the fourth quarter after having run for all that yardage.
To the penalties today, 18 in all. First and 20.
Jason Clausen checking off. Marshall showing a little blitz up top.
Clausen wants to throw in trouble. Dumps it off. And it is Jabari Davis, and Davis is gang tackled at the 39-yard line. It's a pickup of 4 yards. We are here in Knoxville. More than 106,000 fans in attendance today, seeing number 14 Tennessee struggling with Marshall. We're in the fourth quarter. Tennessee leading Marshall by 4, 28-24. But it has been a terrific game. Marshall came in as a heavy underdog. And coming up after us, Maryland at number 10, Florida State.
That should be a good one. Florida State, a big win last week against North Carolina. They seem to have gotten themselves on track. Look for big things from Florida State this season.
Second and long. They need to get to the 45-yard line of Marshall for the first down. Swinging it out is Clausen, and it's caught by C.J. Phaeton, and Phaeton is knocked down after a pickup of 1 yard. So it'll bring up third and long. Chris Royal on the stop for Marshall.
C.J. Phaeton is a guy who used to play quarterback as well, like James Banks, and he's just so athletic. He's become the fourth receiver in their offensive set. Had a huge game in the Peach Bowl last year. Breakout game for him. 5 receptions for 68 yards last season in the Peach Bowl against Maryland.
So third and 14. And it looks like it'll be a timeout here. So a timeout. Tennessee will talk about it as they are facing a third and 14, leading by 4 here in the fourth quarter. And welcome back, everyone. I'm Jeff Hellinger along with Andre Ware. Well, every time that, we think that Marshall may be going away, they only find a way to get back in this ball game behind their offense, and their defense also hanging very tough with Tennessee right now.
Tell you what, they've played an outstanding ball game on both sides of the ball. They've taken Tennessee's best punch, and they are still in the football game. It should make for a fantastic finish.
Third and 14 for Tennessee. 4 wide receivers for Casey Clausen. With time going downfield, and it's caught. What a great catch by Jason Swain as he was working on Roberto Terrell. Terrell had his hands all over him too.
Boy, he did a good job of making up for the catch that he dropped in the end zone. Here, one-on-one outside that gives his quarterback a good release, but he works back inside, allowing for that 4 yards that coaches talk about, where a quarterback can fade you outside away from the defender. Gives himself a chance to make the catch as well as stay in bounds.
A gain of 35 yards, and Tennessee needed that on third and long, trying to pull away from Marshall here. They're up by 4. It's Jabari Davis, and upended at the 34-yard line by Roberto Terrell. It's a loss of 1. Terrell is hurt. Let's go to Matt Weiner now.
All right, Jeff, Auburn falling like the goalposts in Atlanta tonight. Georgia Tech fans celebrating an upset win over the Tigers, who are off to an abysmal start. Reggie Ball, the true freshman quarterback, getting the ride of his life. After a big 17-3 win, Auburn managed just 183 yards in total offense. The 3 points they've scored in their first 2 games, the least since 1928. Coming up, Chris Ricks impressed a lot of folks in North Carolina. We'll try to impress the Terrapins right after you guys finish up in Tennessee.
All right, Matt, thank you. That is the first time that Georgia Tech and Auburn have met since 1987, and I remember that game where Andre Bruce, former #1 draft pick of the Atlanta Falcons, was such a star, and it made everybody in Atlanta think, wouldn't it be great to see Andre Bruce in a Falcons uniform? Well, that didn't quite work out, but a good afternoon for the Yellow Jackets nonetheless.
Yeah, it really is, and a rough start for Auburn and Coach Tuberville down there, and they got to get that thing fixed in a hurry. But here was a pretty good tackle by Roberto Terrell. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if he took a knee the wrong way or what, but he's slow to get up. He's finally up.
This is a huge loss if he can't continue, because he has 10 tackles, and he has had a great presence for Marshall today.
He really has. He had 3 interceptions for the Thundering Herd last season. Has played, like you mentioned, just outstanding football today. He and Gladstone Coke in that secondary rallying up to the football, making some pretty big tackles. But boy, the Tennessee offensive line just starting to wear on this Marshall front 7.
Defensive coordinator for Marshall is Bill Witt. He was the defensive line coach a couple of years ago, and gets promoted and has done a terrific job. Play the drive coming up. 2nd and 11 from the 25. Directing traffic here is Clausen.
A little audible.
And it is Houston, and he is met at the line of scrimmage for no gain. Atkins on the hit.
You know, I talked to Casey yesterday, and we were quick to say, well, he's checking off at the line of scrimmage. He picked that up from Peyton Manning. He said Peyton taught him that come to the line sometimes, and give the dummy audible. Just make the defense think that you're going to check to something else. They start readjusting because they think you're going to switch the play, but the plays kept on. And there, I think that was a situation where he did it.
So another third down for Tennessee. 3rd and 10 from the 24. And it is complete. James Banks, and a good job by Marshall. Ronaldo Williams scoops him up. It's a loss of 1. It might have been better served by just going ahead.
That's where the youth kind of shine through on James Banks. You got to get the football on a screen, or actually it was a little corner route, we call it a smash route, where you have the outside receiver hook up at 6 yards. The inside guy goes to the corner. Casey read it. The corner played off and gets the ball to Banks on time. But you got to get north and south, not east and west. And you want positive yards and not going backwards. That's what James Banks did on that play.
James Wilhoit, a 42-yard attempt. He's missed from 47. And the kick is long enough, and it is good. So Tennessee gets 3. Phil Fulmer likes that. Hits from 42 yards out, and now it's Tennessee 31, Marshall 24, with 5:27 left. Feeling a little bit better here at Neyland Stadium. Number 14, Tennessee leading Marshall here in the 4th quarter after the field goal by James Wilhoit. Kicking off is Philip Newman. Check it, it's James Wilhoit who is kicking off here. And taken at the 1 by Earl Charles. Wrapped up as he crosses the 15, down at the 16-yard line, a return of 15 yards. Let's go to Matt Weiner.
Now, Jeff, the Maryland Terrapins have already dropped out of the top 25. Ralph Friedgen's team could jump right back in with a win over Bobby Bowden's Florida State team. Kickoff at 7:27 Eastern right after you.
We'll look forward to it. And a penalty marker.
No.
Will go against Tennessee.
Personal foul. Gives
Dead ball, personal foul, late hit on the kicking team, 15 yards, automatic first down.
Well, they've been penalized today 12 times for 118 yards. You can't do that against Florida next week.
All right. It gives Marshall a head start in this drive, a little extra yardage.
So Graham Goetner remains at quarterback for the injured Stan Hill. Now the crowd comes to life. Flea flicker. Goetner going long, one-on-one coverage, and it's incomplete. Darius Watts had to try and make a play on the ball so it wasn't intercepted by Antoine Stewart.
Well, the crowd doesn't like it, but he's got every right to come back to the football and try to make a play as well. And he's got to become the defensive back in this instance. Graham Goetner doesn't get it out there. He's kind of lulling off, and then all of a sudden he takes off, and he gets behind the cornerback Antoine Stewart. If Stan Hill's in the ball game, I got to believe it's a touchdown pass. Goetner just doesn't have the arm strength. He threw it more on the line than getting it up and over.
There's an interesting statistic on the Volunteers defense.
Only 9 touchdown passes allowed all of last season. 3 this afternoon.
Can Graham Goetner get something going? In relief of Stan Hill for Marshall. They're down by 7. No one is left here in Knoxville. Goetner to Watts. And Watts is down at the 37-yard line. It's a pickup of 6. Tackled by Jabari Greer, the senior out of Jackson, Tennessee.
He was so quick that threw a move and tackled himself. Boy, that's what they got to give Goetner, though, some gimme throws within the system and allow him to kind of catch a rhythm here. He's been in football games, maybe not this big.
Or none this loud.
That's right.
3rd and 4. He needs to get to the 41-yard line. Goetner with time. And overshoots Watts, who had found a seam in the Tennessee defense, but that ball was way over his head.
We may have a roughing the passer penalty here. Goetner took a lick a little bit late. Excuse me. Oh, wow. Face mask. I thought he took a lick maybe a little late. The ball was gone and he got hit. Maybe forced the throw a little bit high. Try to throw that corner out again. Nope. It was okay.
Personal foul, face mask on the offense, be penalized 15 yards, repeat third down.
So Marshall makes the mistake. And they've got 8 penalties, 80 yards.
Big Nate McPeak working on Mondre Dickerson. Gets the hands high and into the face mask area. Didn't get him down fast enough for the official. When Nate having a battle over there, he gets Mondre Dickerson. He's had Constantine Ritzman on him at times. He's going to face everybody's best playing that left tackle position.
3rd and 18. And it's loud from Marshall. It's loud. Getting louder. Goetner out of the shotgun. Plenty of time near side, and it is caught by Darius Watts, who is knocked out of bounds at the 37-yard line, a gain of 14, tackled by Jabari Greer. For those of you tuning in to see Maryland against Florida State, that game is coming up next here on ESPN2. Kickoff is still about 10 minutes away. We'll get you there as soon as we are done here in Knoxville, and that's about 4 minutes and 20 seconds away. Graham Goetner, hard to replace Stan Hill and hard to make your debut in a stadium like this against a defense like Tennessee.
This is a situation right now where, you have a guy go down. You have to have 2 quarterbacks prepared to play.
Clint Rose with a good punt. Floating spiral taken by Rashad Baker. And Baker has run out of bounds along the Tennessee sideline. It's a 44-yard punt, a 4-yard return. And Tennessee leading Marshall. The Vols have the football. Leading Marshall. Tennessee at Florida next week. Marshall will take on Toledo, but right now the Vols clinging to a 7-point lead. You wonder about the fatigue factor at this point, Andre Ware.
Well, I think Marshall's done a good job. It really, the weather has not affected them defensively. That's where it usually shows up, the cramps. It's been rather favorable for them. So a lot of guys that have had to play a lot of minutes for this Marshall defense.
First down from the 27-yard line. Double tight end set for the Vols. And they'll keep it on the ground. This is Cedric Houston. It's a pickup of 3. 2nd and 7. Last week, Tennessee had 433 yards of total offense against Fresno State. Today, they are not that far off, about 402 yards.
They have established early in this season that they want to run the football. And there's a guy, Randy Sanders, who calls the plays for that offense. They're doing a fine job of running.
Quarterback from Tennessee. Clock running. 2nd and 7. Cedric Houston. And no place to go. Marshall defense responds. Mariah Anderson is there. It's a gain of 1. It'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, they're just all day long, really, just a good job of Marshall. You're not going to stop a guy like Cedric Houston. You just hope to control him a little bit. But, boy, look at this. 256 yards in the second half alone. That's big.
And Houston, 160 rushing yards. 3rd and 5. Need to get to the 37-yard line. Maryland and Florida State is coming up. Clausen with time and a man. Knocked out of bounds is Troy Fleming, who has caught a touchdown today. It's a pickup of 8. First down for Tennessee and a little bit of breathing room here in Knoxville.
Yeah, at this point in the ball game, if you're Tennessee, all you want to do is move the chains. You got a 7-point lead. Down under 3 minutes. You just want to move the chains, a couple of first downs, and then all the pressure shifts to the other sideline, and Marshall having to score to keep this ball game alive.
Tennessee has 21 first downs. And now with 1st and 10 from the 39-yard line. Jabari Davis. And Davis close to the 25-yard line, dragged down by Willie Smith and Roberto Terrell. A 35-yard pickup for the junior from Stone Mountain, Georgia.
Boy, that's just desire on the part of Jabari Davis to get it done. Breaking tackles here. He hits the hole. He's low to the ground. I'm going to get north and south. Just running through arm tackles, and now it's a foot race. Foot race with Willie Smith, the defensive back. And once you get in the secondary, these Tennessee running backs, boy, they have speed to take it to the house. Look at that yard per carry average. 8.3 yards per carry for Davis.
First down. And a pickup of 2 yards is Jabari Davis working on Mariah Anderson. Anderson very active this afternoon. He's got 9 tackles. And inside of 2 minutes. Tennessee with no timeouts left.
And Marshall looks like they're going to take one to try to stop this clock. And
we'll take a break here. Tennessee in control, leading Marshall 31-24. 1989 Heisman Trophy winner. Is there ever a day that goes by when somebody doesn't remind you of that fact?
You know, it's kind of funny. Earl Campbell told me a long time ago, he said, you won't just be Andre Ware again, you'll always be Heisman Trophy winner. So it's kind of held true.
No complaints, I'm sure. 2nd and 7 from the 22-yard line. And Casey throws. Oh, wide open was Derek Tinsley out of Marietta, Georgia.
Sometimes as a quarterback, that is the hardest throw to make on the football field. A guy running wide open, and all I got to do is just somehow get it to him. Turn my shoulders, and I just pull the string on it a little too fast.
And it drops like a rock.
It drops like a rock. Watch the reaction of Casey Clausen, because he knows that he missed out on one. It's like, oh, my goodness.
Tennessee on 3rd down conversions today. 11 of 17. Now looking at 3rd and 7. Need to get to about the 15-yard line. Here's the draw play. Turning it to the outside is Corey Larkins. And Larkins knocked out of bounds along the Tennessee sideline. It's a pickup of 4. Charles Tynes is there, the ever-present one. You have to be impressed with him, how he has played today. He's got an interception and has 8 tackles, and it seems like wherever the football has been, you can find Charlie Tynes today.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about what Tennessee's doing offensively. They've got 1:43 left in this football game. Play before you see a pass. That play, you got a running back going out of bounds. How about a little time management? Milk this clock down a little bit and put some pressure on Marshall. But here they're going to line up and try to get the thing out of reach.
James Wilhoit just hit from 42. This will be from 36 yards out. And here's the kick. It is long enough, and it is good. So Wilhoit gives Tennessee a little bit of a cushion. Now up by 10 points, 34-24 for Phil Fulmer. And with 1:38, it is a Herculean task now for Graham Goetner.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, we talk about preparing 2 quarterbacks and having them ready to play each and every week. It's hard to get the second guy as many reps as the first guy, but you got to do it. You got to try to do it and prepare him as much as possible for situations like this with Stan Hill.
Let's go to Dave Barnett in Tallahassee right now for Florida State and Maryland.
All right, Jeff, thanks. And Chief Osceola has done the honors to get us ready for Maryland and Florida State. Dave Barnett with Bill Curry and Craig James. And the question for Florida State, Bill, after a shutout opening win over North Carolina, are they back? Are they going to look like Florida State again after 5 losses last year?
Dave, I was at practice Thursday afternoon. The gleam is back in the eye and the speed is back in the feet. Yes, indeed.
And Craig, the question for Maryland. What happened against Northern Illinois? Can they get back in 1 week?
They were very humbled last week. They're ready to get back and prove they deserve to be a top 20.
Let's send you back to Jeff in Knoxville.
All right, Dave Barnett, thank you very much. We've got 1:38 left with Tennessee leading Marshall by 10. And kicking off is Will Hoyt. And this is high, and it is deep. And down by Earl Charles. And Goetner and company will get the ball at the 20-yard line. They don't have a lot of time left. Got their timeouts remaining, if that's any consolation. But Goetner, replacing Stan Hill, has not shown an ability to move the football.
Well, you know, he stood in, he's made some passes, and you know, it's a lot to ask of him, but he knows he's one play away each and every week when they go into a football game, so he's got to prepare himself. I just hope Stan Hill, for the long haul of this season, doesn't have any damage in that knee, and it's just, you know, the rest of this one, and he's able to play, getting ready for next week.
Marshall on first down. Goetner in trouble, and down he goes. Hit by Konstantin Ritzman, the Germinator from Berlin. And it's sack number 6 for Tennessee.
Well, he is a pass rushing extraordinaire. He loves to pin his ears back and come after the quarterback. And early in this ball game, he kind of got himself out of position. He was going so hard trying to get to Stan Hill.
Goetner on 2nd and long, and it is caught by Josh Davis, and Davis spins away from one tackler and run out at 28, a gain of 15.
Man, all you got to do is just get the ball in those guys' hands. Darius Watson and Josh Davis. Just some weapons that are unbelievable after the catch. I mean, it's like acceleration, a gear that nobody else has on the field.
Well, Marshall was 11-2 last year, and you have to think, come MAC championship time, if they don't have any serious injuries and Stan Hill comes back,
he'll be fine.
I think you're going to see him. 3rd and 2 from the 28. Here's Goetner into double coverage, and it's caught by Davis, and Davis has it up for the first down. It's a pickup of 7 yards inside a minute.
This throw by Goetner, right where it had to be. They were in cover 2. Cornerbacks waiting out here in the flat, and Davis runs a little out route. He throws it on the back shoulder, making sure that he sits him down with the football. Fabulous throw and catch there to move the chains.
On first down, it's Goetner again. And hit as he gets rid of the ball, and it's caught by Brad Bates out of Chillicothe, Ohio. A lot of pressure coming from Konstantin Ritzman again. It's a pickup of 6. 34-24. Tennessee leading Marshall. Back to Tallahassee, and Dave Barnett.
Hoping not to lose their first 2 this year. Opening series of the game, Maryland takes the opening kickoff. Bruce Perry is starting at tailback. And they have a 3rd down and 9 from their own 25. Scott McBrien's pass almost intercepted by Bryant McFadden. And the Terps start with a quick 3 and out.
One of the things that they're going to have to really work with here at Maryland early in the game is the speed of Florida State. That was way late, Coach, on its delivery.
Not only was it late, but it was a hard corner with a safety behind him. That was a poor read by McBrien, and it probably should have been a touchdown for Florida State.
So Adam Podlesh to punt for Maryland. Let's send you back to Jeff in Knoxville.
All right, Dave, thank you. Tennessee leading Marshall. There are 2 places that, you know, you really don't want to play if you have to travel to, and Florida State is one. The other is Tennessee.
That's right. It's tough to play in either place. How about that little standoff they had at the coin toss in midfield down in Tallahassee?
2nd and 5. Goetner across the middle. It's caught by Darius Watts, and he has enough for a first down. It's a pickup of 7. Got 30 seconds left. What a fantastic football player. Darius Watts, the senior from College Park, Georgia. And he has been impressive today with 7 catches and 89 yards.
Well, it's just to keep producing really, really good wide receivers. Randy Moss, and then now Darius Watts. Josh Davis has got another year after this one.
15 seconds are left. Goetner, and it is intercepted, picked off. And the interception is made.
by Jason Allen, and that will just about be your ball game.
Yeah, with 6 seconds left, I thought maybe that Darius Watts may get pass interference down there. Shoulder pads are out from under his jersey, getting ripped to the turf, and that's why the ball went a little high and Goetner was picked off.
So Tennessee goes to 2-0. They get ready to take on Florida next week. Meanwhile, Marshall will face Toledo. So tough clubs waiting for both of these teams here.
Yeah, they practice this victory formation after every practice on Friday, and that usually means that you're winning the football game and it's over.
So Phil Fulmer and the Tennessee Volunteers, a tough one with Marshall today, but they survive. Our final score, Tennessee over Marshall, 34-24. Coming up next, Maryland against Florida State. For Andre Ware and our entire crew, I'm Jeff Hullinger. Now let's take you out to Tallahassee, Florida. Here's Dave Barnett.